Happy homecoming, everybody, and thanks for joining us for this special presentation of a classic University of Indianapolis football victory. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Greg Rakestraw, and I'm now old enough where I kind of blush when I say what year I graduated from the University of Indianapolis, but hey, at least it was U of I then, not Indiana Central. A guy that played against Indiana Central, then coached against the University of Indianapolis, then has coached for UIndy both as a defensive coordinator and, of course, is simply put the most successful head coach in program history from a football standpoint. Bob Bartolomeo, I got to give the full name one time. It is now Coach Bart from this point in time forward. It is good to see you, my friend. How are you?
Great, Greg, and really happy to help celebrate homecoming in this weird way, but really fired up about watching this game and being with you and being able to navigate through this win for the Hounds.
So here's what we're going to do. Obviously, we wish we had a live game to show you on homecoming, but we don't. We hope to have football for you in the spring. So we decided we're going to go back, and the idea was, okay, maybe we look at a past homecoming victory. Then it eventually became, you know what? Let's focus on the last NCAA tournament win for the University of Indianapolis in football. You don't have to go back that long for it, 2018, against Fort Hays State University. Now, we're going to talk about the plays that we see during the course of this contest. We're going to have a different guest join me for every quarter. Thought it was fair that Coach Bart got dibs on the first quarter, and I'm going to make it about him off the start, and then we'll talk about the young men that he coached in this game, because this turned out to be Coach Bart's last win at the University of Indianapolis. He announced his retirement following the playoff loss the following week to the number one seed in the region. And if memory serves me right, you had kind of made up your mind at some point in time, either going into the season or during the season, this was going to be it for you. So what's it like to look back on this knowing this is your last win as a football coach?
You know what is crazy is I didn't really realize that until you told me. But yeah, it's been different going through now a fall and a half of not coaching football after doing it for 40 years. But it's been enjoyable. I've been able to enjoy football Thursday night through Monday night and all the things that come with that, watching other people sweat it out. But again, we had a great run here and a great university, and had a lot of great support with Dr. Sue and the staff I had, and of course the players. They're the ones that make it.
Okay, we're going to talk about those young men coming up in a matter of moments. So here we go. We're going to sit down and watch the first quarter. We'll watch the entire game, but Coach Bart will be with us during the first quarter. The one thing we're not going to do is kind of go over the play-by-play. I'm not going to be calling it 3rd and 9 or something coming along those lines. This is a conversation amongst friends that has to be taking place while a football game is going on. So let's set the stage. At this point, this would have been the 7th year in the Great Lakes Valley Conference for the University of Indianapolis. And so this would be the 5th, I believe, trip to the NCAA postseason in those 7 years. Either the 5th or 6th conference championship during that same time. I do think you have rings for 2 hands now from your days of coaching at the University of Indianapolis. What was different, unique, special about this group heading into the postseason?
Well, I think it was a group that really came together throughout the season. We didn't start off well. We went up to Grand Valley and got beat, but then won the rest of those games, 10 games in a row. Got a playoff game at home, which we made it in our mindset and in the players' mindset when I took over that we weren't going to lose at home. And I think that group took that to task and got after it from that standpoint.
When you see the graphic roll up here in a matter of moments, you will see that UIndy is the number 4 seed, and that is what, again, ensures being at home. So 7 teams make the postseason from each NCAA Division II region. This is the 4-5 game. So UIndy is the 4 seed, Fort Hays State as the 5 seed. They are the champions of the MIAA, and you see the smile come to Bob's face when I make that reference. That has been one of the powerhouse Division II leagues for a long time. Historical programs like Pittsburgh State, the Gorillas come to mind. More recently, Northwest Missouri State, a multiple-time champion. So to be able to host a team from the MIAA, and spoiler alert, to beat a team from the MIAA, that's a big accomplishment for the program.
Without a doubt, we had great respect for that league, and like you said, the tradition that they have and the national championships that have come out of that league have been unbelievable. Quick side note: when I was at Butler, we played Pittsburgh State in the playoffs out there, and it was the year they won it, and had the Harlan Hill Trophy winner and big old receiver. I forget his name, but. Anyways, getting back to Fort Hays, really respect the league, and we got them at home. And again, like I said before, we try not to lose at home.
What were you referencing for them? How confident? That shows how confident.
All right, so with that, let's see how good your memory is. How was the weather on that Saturday before Thanksgiving a couple of years ago?
Not bad, really, for that late in the fall. Wind was blowing from the south to the north, and you'll see it affects some of the kicks here. But again, great football weather, and one in which it really didn't have a great effect on either team.
When you first made the Division II playoffs in 2012, you got to host. I know there had been a couple of home losses between that victory and 2018, but just being able to have this game at Key Stadium, what did that mean to you?
Oh, it's awesome, especially for the players and their families that come visit and watch them play. They didn't have to travel in terms of going, all over the country. And but for us to play at home, it gave us a great chance to win.
Was there a particular team that Fort Hays State reminded you of, either that you had played on that year's schedule or in previous years?
Ashland, probably. Big physical team. Liked to run the ball, throw some play action, had some speed at the wideout. Had a good running back, but up front, they were a big physical football team.
So I assume that Fort Hays State won the toss, elected to defer?
No.
You wanted the ball?
Yeah, we
Really?
took the ball, I think, and got the ball back. And
You defensive guy wanted the ball to start the game?
well, we talked about it a lot, and we knew our offense had to put up points, and so I don't hold me to that to court, but again, I thought we deferred or took the football.
I always pegged you as a guy that would defer and take the ball in the second half. All right, so touch back here, obviously, at this point in time by 2018. Anything inside the 25, you could simply let go from an end zone standpoint or catch it and get the ball to the 25-yard line. Jake Perica is your starting quarterback in this game. Tell me about his days at UIndy.
Jake's had a stellar career, just a winner all around, comes from a football family, and his dad's a football coach. I think he's still playing overseas, to be honest with you. And last I heard, again, sometimes you lose touch with some of these kids, but Jake is a great quarterback.
All right, 3 wide. This has become kind of a basic offensive set for so many teams. Sometimes it's 4 and 5 wide, but you have been just as apt to run out of this 3 wide set. Why has that combination been so good to your program?
Well, one is the guy that running that football.
Certainly helps, yes.
Number 4 there. He's a very good runner, but the quarterback we had, Jake, he is a pretty good runner, and so teams had to respect that. I think up front we could do a lot of different blocking schemes within that set. Here we're in an empty set, and he's going to throw it out to Malik there, and Malik Higgins is a kid from Evansville who actually Ball State offered him, and he didn't take it early enough. So good for us. He ended up being a premier wide receiver in our league, and also in a guy that did some great things for our football program. So that was a big first down there for Jake on the slant pass, and did a good job of completing that. But everything comes off of this guy and the other back that'll show up here in a second, Alma Keller.
All right, so this guy is Alma Keller, and this would have been, I believe, his sophomore year, because this coming up will be his senior season.
Correct.
At the University of Indianapolis. And played for Pat Mallory at Lawrence North, a program that historically has struggled, is getting better. They are still shooting for their first winning season in about 15 years of the Wildcats. As you and I filmed this, they're 3-2 so far on the year. Tell me about Alma Keller and how he ended up on the south side of Indianapolis.
Well, Chris Kievers did a great job of recruiting him and did a nice job of selling the family, of staying at home and being able to play in a city where he had success. And another kid that kind of slipped through the cracks there. We get a lot of those types of kids, especially in Marion County, that, other teams, for whatever reason, overlook. And we just kind of go in there and gobble them up. And
let's talk about this kind of big picture from a recruiting standpoint, though, because it seems that in every other sport other than football, there are now secondary ways to recruit an athlete that almost have become primary. When you think about basketball, it's as much what you do in the AAU circuit as you do high school hoops. From baseball, it's what you do in travel ball, along with what you do in high school. Football, you don't have that option. What does that lead to for coaches like yourself?
Well, I think camps. Seeing kids in camp. We had Al in our camp, our football camp. We tried to get our number one recruits on campus and involved in our camps. And if they can't make it to our camps, then we go all over the Midwest. Our assistants do working other camps and being able to see kids firsthand in terms of what they can and can't do.
A little razzle-dazzle here, Coach.
Oh, yeah, early. Yeah, that was for a yard. Gillen, he was a...
moved the chains, though, right?
Yeah.
It moved the chains.
Second and one, and did a great job there. Davion Bell, another local kid out of LC, and, made some big plays for us that year and is doing a great job for the Hounds as we speak.
And much like Alma Keller, he's a guy that comes back for his senior year this year.
Correct.
And Davion is a guy that the rules of physics nor football apply to him. I'm going to see what this play is, and then we'll kind of maybe talk more about David. This is a deep post, going to be a big completion.
Yeah.
Higgins about 44 yards.
Got behind him and made a nice, but it's all off the play action.
Yep.
First down play. When you can run it, Greg, as we talked earlier, you got a great chance to keep the defense on their heels. Good fake in there. To Al, I think it was, or Toriano, and if Jake would have threw it a little further, it might have been 6 points. But again, great job by Malik turning that corner around, but it's all off the play action.
Play by the Greyhound. Little shift over by McKellar. And it's going to be handed off.
Nice hole up in there by the offensive line as you look, and coming across, running the inside zone cut play, and our O-line did a great job, led by that center, kid named Dan McHale, who's going to be around here shortly, but had a good group up front, and those guys opened up some holes. Now, the running backs are good, but these guys did a great job here in terms of protecting and also, opening up the holes for the linemen. There's a outside zone that didn't work as well, and so it gets us to 3rd and 5 here, and we got to make a play to get 7 here on the first drive.
Again, defensive coordinator before you were a head coach, so I'm asking an offensive coordinator question here. What do you like dialing up on 3rd and goal from the 5-yard line?
Well, we got a little play here, I think, that's going to come up where we throw a little bit of a rub route, so to speak, out here. And the two receivers go inside, and one guy goes outside or does a little whip route, and it's hard to cover. And Davion and Jake hooked up there for 7 points. So big drive to start the football game.
All right, so we come back to talk about Davion Bell. And when I think of Davion, his skills as a wide receiver are outstanding. I think of his skills as a punt returner. And there are certain rules that apply to punt returners. You don't do this, you don't do that. It seems to me that he's a kid that you say, catch it and run.
Yeah.
Am I oversimplifying, or is that pretty
No,
accurate?
a lot of times he'll catch that ball inside the 10,
and he'll go the wrong direction, but yet he makes guys miss on a regular basis.
Exactly. The next thing you know, he's past the 50 and doing some great things. But that's a nice little in-out route run by the 3 wideouts out there, and Jake put it on him for an easy 7.
Now, see, when I think of a rub route, I think of a pick play. That looked like a pick play to me. They just didn't know how to cover a bunch, and Davion was left alone.
Hang on, there's a couple
It's
coming
coming.
up.
Okay, good. All right. After the fact, we can talk about
Yeah.
things of that nature. How did Davion end up here at UIndy?
Kind of the same way, as you spoke of him earlier. He's not the biggest guy,
No.
and so there are reservations about his size. But the kid's got a heart as big as the moon, and so he is really a tough competitor. And you could see that he's a basketball player also.
Yes.
And I tell you, on the hardwood, he was a tough competitor. We went and watched him play numerous times on the hard court, and the guy's just a competitor.
You and I have spent entirely too much time together because you knew that it was exactly where I was going to go. I was going to tell people, if Davion wanted to play basketball here at UIndy, he may have a chance to. He was that good of a player at Lawrence Central.
Oh, I know. He's just a playmaker and a guy that, again, get down on defense and make things happen offensively.
It's important to play from in front in every football game, but especially in this game, in a playoff game. How important was it to get that lead early in the contest?
Oh, it was humongous. And again, it shows a little bit getting that lead was big. Confidence, that you can move the football on a team from the MIAA, and did so really not effortlessly. But I tell you what we did. We made some third down plays there that got some first downs and got the ball in the end zone.
You told me that this Fort Hays State team reminded you of Ashland, which they're good every year, and again, big and physical. That impresses me. On either side of the football, what were some of the things you really keyed in on in film preparation for this game and said, okay, this is what we have to do well to win?
We got to stop the run, and we did it. They're a running team very similar to us, and I think they had under 100 yards total rushing for the day. And again, we had to make them one-dimensional and get after them up front. Controlling both lines of scrimmage was critical in this football game when you play a big physical football team. So we had to match them both on our front defensively and offensively with our O-line. But you saw the kickoff, and I was talking about the wind earlier, and it was a factor on that kick where Paul Boozman, our kicker, he kicked it, 1, in the middle of the field, which we didn't want, and 2, it was landed about the 10-yard line. So it was if we're grading the tape, he's a double minus on that play. But he came in after our original kicker was hurt and did a great job. So now we get a break, and then Schmatz jumps offside because we got after the quarterback and sacked him, but all for naught because we jumped offside, so it went back to 2nd and 7.
Tell you what, the backfield for Fort Hays State must have led the league in hair.
Yeah.
That's a legal play, by the way. You can tackle them by the hair. That is a legal play.
Oh, yeah, starting with the quarterback.
Absolutely.
So
quarterback and tailback both.
We had a few of them, so it was, it's that day and age, Greg.
I don't complain about long hair.
No.
I'm just saying, if you're an offensive player, Edger and James got tackled by the braids one time. They got cut the very next day.
Is that right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
God's
awesome.
honest truth right there.
I believe that.
Season opener in Cleveland, either in, I think, 2002 or 2003, one of the two.
That's amazing. You can remember that.
Just say it convincingly, people believe.
But they had a good little passing game. They went to an empty set there and kind of got us spread out and kind of worked us over one-on-one out on the perimeter. Again, a very good, well-coached football team. Coach Brown does a great job there and did a great job and has continued to do a great job. And, again, great guy. Met him for the first time.
That was Cole Sigmund that made the tackle. Tell me about Cole.
Cole is a remarkable young man. We were lucky enough to get him out of St. Louis, kind of beat Truman on him. And he had a great career here, a captain his senior year, a very successful young man in the classroom. He's a guy that's he's going to be real successful in life.
Let's talk about kind of expanding the recruiting footprint. Obviously, the first few guys you mentioned an Evansville kid, then we went Lawrence North, Lawrence Central. We didn't mention where Jake Parikh is from, but Cardinal Ritter, so all local guys. You guys now, for the better part of the last decade to 15 years, have really recruited kind of the suburban Chicago, especially the south suburbs of Chicago, very well. But now we've started to see the St. Louis area kind of fall into UIndy. How'd that go about?
Well, it's in the heart of our league.
Good point.
You know, and so we knew kids that similar to some of the Indianapolis kids. They think they got to get away and that type of thing. And it's good football in St. Louis. So, you know, there's a lot of D2 leagues recruiting in St. Louis, so it is tough. But again, from that standpoint, we've had success. Casey Gillen got in there and established himself as a recruiter and brought our name there, and we had a good run with getting some St. Louis kids, and they were successful here.
Also helped there's not a Division I program in St. Louis. It leaves a little room for you to operate.
Right. It gets hit pretty hard, but again, big metropolitan city, you know, 4.5 hours away. Robert Williams made a nice play there on a 3rd and 9, knocked it away, and again, he's another senior that had a good game, made some plays for us. Kid out of Pike.
Yep.
And the best thing about Robert is we got him a degree. He got himself a degree. And, you know, he come a long way. A kid that had a great career here.
Quarterback punt formation.
Quarterback punt. And
yeah.
You'll see what it does to us. It gets us pinned back, that's for sure. And again, pretty good utilization of strategy. We didn't have anybody back and pinned us on the 1-yard line.
But at the same time, you score and get a stop immediately. Being a tennis player, that's what we would call consolidating the break.
Yeah.
You got the break to serve, and then you backed it up by holding your own. So, yeah, you're at the 1-yard line, but you've got the ball into a 1-score lead. It's a heck of a start to a football game.
Oh, it's, again, like I said before, it's a confidence builder, you know, and for both sides of the football now. We stopped them on defense, we scored on offense, and, you know, the special teams, they had a little miscue there when they got the ball out to the 50, but again, they end up making some plays for us as the game goes on.
How'd that ball move from the 1 to the 6-yard line there, Coach?
Playing at home.
So you don't get to pick the referees for the playoff game.
I think they're from Missouri, actually.
Okay,
so.
all right. I was going to ask you about what do you dial up from your own 1-yard line. Forget that. You're playing from the 6.
Yeah. Keep giving it the ball to that tailback, him and Toriano Clinton, the next guy that comes in. They do great job. Plus, it starts up front, you know, with Dan and his group up there. They had a great year. And Clay Hadley, kid from Center Grove's the tackle. Danny Onay's a Ron Colley kid. He's playing in there.
He's your 6th offensive lineman.
Yeah, exactly. Joe Sarabia is kind of a nice story. He's got family up in. There's a nice run there. Got us out of the hole.
All right, so in so many other eras of any program, you have a guy like McKellar. He's just toting the rock for the next 4 years. How did you come across Toriano Clinton?
Well, Coach Gus got him out of Chicago up in that area. Again, a kid got overlooked. He was real close to getting some D1 offers. And I talked to a lot of my D1 friends because we were needing to get another tailback. And he came in, and not only did he do a great job, and here we missed one to Higgins, but he is a special kid. He's a great kid, comes from a great family. Hard-working kid, and again, he helped us win a lot of football games.
How did those? There's only one football, you know. In basketball, there's only one shot to go around. You only hand the football to each guy so many times. How have Al and Toriano handled that?
Oh, they're best of buddies, and they help each other, and great teammates. Guys that really appreciate one another because it gives them a blow, and then they're able to come back with a little bit more energy and do some better things from that standpoint. As you can see, as you watch the game, both of them had great influence in terms of us rushing for darn near 300 yards.
Now, Al appreciated the carry ratio in this game. He toted the rock 29 times in this one. Toriano made the most of 5 carries that you gave him in this contest.
He has a big run coming up. I won't kind of jump the gun here.
Toriano's yards per carry average was fantastic in this game.
Yeah.
Again, if it's a good thing, we don't mind giving the spoilers away.
Right,
on
exactly.
our broadcast today. So 3rd and 4.
Yep.
Blitz coming.
And
And
there's
a perfectly called screen.
yep, and it's as you'll see, if they have the end zone, I'm not sure we do or not, but there's a pick play here, Greg. Here's one in which
Again, rub routes.
but you can because the ball is thrown behind the line.
Correct.
So that was something that we put in and utilized this play a lot, in third, and it really worked in terms of sending the H-back across at the linebacker to hit the corner that was covering the wide receiver. So from that standpoint, it was well executed by our offense.
Slant to Higgins.
Yep, and that's something that we did a couple times early, and then they caught on. But again, Malik did a nice job of working the corner over, and Jake off the play action was able to throw it in there. That's probably what Jake did the best is the play action pass and the kind of the slants, the outs, and then he'd throw it up on top every once in a while, but did a good job of controlling the offense. Here's Jake running the football, and I'm not sure,
Was that design quarterback off tackle?
Yeah, it was. I watched it earlier. I had to look at it twice, but he becomes that extra runner, and with 2 blockers in front, and defensively, I know we were always really heads up and nervous about a quarterback that could run the football. Didn't get as much there, but again, I kept telling Gillen, we got 2 great running backs. Keep giving it to those guys. So him and Wilson. Well, Brad Wilson is the O-line guy, and he did a great job coming in, and again, Al hitting it up in there.
I can tell you by having the box score, Casey got the memo on that as the game went along.
Yeah, and again, this quarter, well, you can see we've driven the ball now from our 6 is where it started, right? And it really occupies this drive here almost the whole quarter, and leads to good things. It keeps the defense off the field, and it disheartens the opponent. But again, Al hitting it up in there does a great job. There's Clay Hadley, number 71. He's a Center Grove kid.
Tell me about T.J. Singh and some of the offensive line.
Now he was a Whiteland kid.
Correct.
Played for Darren Fisher.
Yeah.
I have a great respect
me
for
too.
Darren
Absolutely.
Fisher. Darren does a great job with that program. And again, a real late signee. Sometimes you get lucky, Greg. But he really, it came down, I believe, to us in Marion. There's a little bootleg to Matteo, Hamilton Southeastern kid. And T.J. Singh was a late signee, and he just blossomed and bought into during the summer, graduated, and just, fell in love with the rest of the linemen, and vice versa. The linemen loved him, and he's just a hard worker, and he's a real smart kid. Does real well in school, and he's going to be very successful in life, again, in terms of the academic side of it.
So the opening drive of the game, you go 75 yards from the 25-yard line, 40-yard pitch and catch between Parika and Higgins. Here you have now driven the ball basically about 65 yards down the field. Quarterback draw.
Yep. Again, another big 2-yard gain by Parika. So you know what I'm saying on the phones right now? I'm telling you, hey, Gillen, we got these 2 big backs there. But
Frankly, that was a good job by the corner to be disciplined and stayed at home.
Exactly.
Because the linemen and linebackers had kind of bailed the other direction.
Yeah.
That was one guy, I reckon, a semi-decent play call.
Yeah.
But your point is well made.
No, I know. I'm just kidding because, again, both he and Wilson did a great job in this football game of controlling the line of scrimmage and calling a great game, as they did all year. We get to 2nd and long here, and again, throw that underneath route to Bell. No, they hit Clinton on the swing there, and again, you get him out in the open field, he can do some damage. And you get it to third and manageable.
I also, again, maybe I'm going to come back to be bitten on this one, but I love how subtle you are. Here's our 2 blocking tight ends. Here's Alma Keller coming into the game. I'm not sure you can stop this.
Exactly.
Give it a try.
Yeah. Third down and manageable. You know, as I say, you know, again, great job with.
And you're going to throw it.
Yep.
Throw out of a running set.
Exactly. We did a little motion, put a little fluff into the game, and brought Higgins underneath. You know, they had a hard time stopping that play to Malik for the most part.
Well, especially when you beat him deep so early in the game.
Yeah.
That is now etched in the every defensive back's brain for the rest of the game.
Without a doubt. And Malik is a speed guy. He can run and did a nice job of getting himself open. But this drive is not only a great drive, but it is eating up clock, as you can see.
I've seen that from your teams for a long time, Coach. Here is McKellar.
Yep.
Do you want your quarterback leading the block like that?
Well, Jake's, you're not going to, no
a
matter what
football
you tell him,
player,
yeah, he's a tough guy. He really is. He could play, you know, he'd play guard if you want him to, because he's that type of mentality.
Jake was also a pretty good high school basketball player in his own right.
Yeah, good baseball player, you know, a 3-sport athlete, and a kid that is really a competitor, a winner, and a very good leader. The kids love him.
Davion Bell in motion here.
Yeah.
Little eye candy.
Exactly. Gave it to Al to get it down in there, and now we get to another critical third down play.
Now the question is, do you score before your time on the show expires? Do you get to talk about one more touchdown in our homecoming rewind here?
I think we're going to have to watch this and see.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't want to.
There's a reason why I didn't watch this.
I don't want to.
I wanted to be legitimately surprised and have honest reactions on the broadcast.
There you go.
Great hustle by Davion.
Yeah, gets it to the one.
He's
short. Yeah, he leaves it short, and so it's 4th and 1. And with that,
well, maybe not.
No,
was it an goal? Because I
it's
saw
first and goal.
I was going to say I saw one of the line judges trying to move the chains.
Yeah, I thought it was third down, but it obviously he got it to a first down.
But that is the end of the
first quarter. Yep.
We can hang out and talk football all day, buddy. It's good to see you.
Always good.
Another guest will join us next as we have the second quarter for you. It's the playoff victory against Fort Hays State from November of 2018 as you're watching on this homecoming Saturday. Stay with us. Welcome back at our homecoming rewind. Again, we're watching the last postseason victory for the University of Annapolis in football just a couple of years ago. 2018 from November of that year, Fort Hays State. We go from the head coach in that game to the head coach of the offensive line. That's what the center always says. It is Dan McHale, who is a UIndy graduate, but is now back playing for the football team whenever they get to lace him up again in 2021. Dan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Greg. Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
All right, you got to kind of sit in the control room and watch. Yeah. What was it like watching the first quarter of this game again?
It was interesting. So we really controlled the line of scrimmage on offense. That's what we were coached. That's what the coaches told us we need to do. And Coach Bart, like you said, defense was doing a great job. And now kind of the action, when you look at the box score, is all in the second. A lot of it's in the second quarter. So we'll have a lot to talk about.
A tease of things to come by the starting center in this game. Let's talk about you for a bit because you're a unique story. So did your undergrad here, kind of went out and started working on your degree as a nurse, but then decided, you know what, I've got another year of football in me from an eligibility standpoint. What convinced you to come back a couple of years later and finish off your playing days?
Yeah, really just I was working out in the weight room, talking to Coach Wilson, Coach Bear, Coach Kievers, and they said, why not? You still have an extra year eligibility. And I did it. So now I'm getting my master's in business administration, and I owe a lot to this university. I really take a lot of pride in it, and it's a great place to be. I'm excited to be back.
Now, clearly, when you made that decision, the idea was you're going to be playing right now.
Yeah.
not waiting for a spring semester, did you think about changing your mind when all of that happened?
No, nothing changed my mind. I know it's a difficult situation with COVID-19 and everything like that, but the coaches and the administration at UIndy have done a great job, like setting good protocols. We're following this very strictly and sticking to it. And when we get a chance to go, we'll be ready.
So literally, as you and I are filming this, you guys had your first day of practice today.
Yes.
What was that like?
It was good just to get past. It was the second day. So
Okay.
Tuesday was number 1, today was number 2, and it was pretty awesome, especially for me who I haven't played in a while. So it felt pretty good to get the pads on and get back to it.
All right, first and goal from a lineman's dream.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's get to it. All right, so let's get to the start of the second quarter. Again, the last play saw Davion Bell taken down just shy of the 1 yard line. So it is first and goal at the 1. Alma Keller is lined up behind you.
Absolutely, and I think the big thing with the goal line here is game plan, huge, because they're in bear here, which they're covering up every offensive lineman, and from our standpoint, it's difficult to, like right here, we see D tackle get in the backfield and we get negative yardage. So when you get down in the red zone, and especially the goal line, the game plan really comes into, like, you got to make a play, you got to make the block.
In this system as a center, how often are you having to call out an audible from a blocking scheme standpoint, adjusting things? Again, the quarterback of the offensive line is the center. So when you're making those reads, how much are you yapping up until you snap the ball?
Definitely yapping up until I snap the ball almost every play. You know, we're constantly communicating. The 5 guys got to play as one. We got to be on the same page. And as long as, even if we're wrong together, so we can still make it happen. But definitely communication is key on offensive line. And then we see Jake, speed option, takes it in for a touchdown right here. So looks pretty good.
So 2-score lead. How important was it to get that in this game?
Yeah,
early?
absolutely. And what you and Coach Barr were talking about earlier, having a home game for a playoff, that is absolutely huge. And especially the year before, we had a little bit of a disappointment. We lost to Grand Valley week 1 and ran the table, and we earned that home playoff game. And we definitely took advantage of it, got an early lead. But as we'll see, there is some adversity we fought through, and it was a great game. So.
So Boozman's kick is up and good, makes it 14-0 beginning of the second quarter. So again, of the 4 years you were in the program prior to this year, 3 playoff trips, correct?
Yep, 3 playoff trips. My sophomore year was one down year, and then we came back strong. Junior year was the undefeated season, and then this senior year in 18 was right here. So
while we've got some time here before the kickoff gets underway, you know, I mentioned these kind of fertile recruiting grounds outside of the state of Indiana with Bart. I didn't mention where you're from.
Yeah.
So Cincinnati, Ohio. How'd you hear about UIndy?
Coach Lynch, who's now a coach at Ball State, he came in. He was the Cincinnati recruiter, Ohio recruiter, Dayton area too, and just kind of hit it off with him. And I went in for a visit. And looking back on it, now we don't have that many Ohio guys really. There is one other St. X kid. He's a running back, Chris Payne. So we have a little pipeline going on now, but they don't. I don't know if it's because Indianapolis is only about less than 2 hours away. So it's just I'd never heard of UIndy before my senior year, before I got recruited. So I think just getting the name out there and kind of the random connection just ended up working out. I'm forever thankful for this place. So.
Well, I do know of people that are GCL folks that make their way to the University of Indianapolis, so I understand that completely.
Yeah.
So an end zone touchback. All right, so how much of a defensive series are you watching? Because, you know, you're meeting, you're talking on the sidelines. How much of actual game action are you usually checking out in this scenario?
Probably right after a touchdown. We're not going to see the first couple plays. We'll be kind of chatting about what's going on defensively when we're on offense. But after that, we're just cheering everybody on as well. And not the whole game, but then when it comes, not the whole series defensively, but a good amount of it, I would say.
These days, you know, there's a lot less hitting during the week than it would have been in the olden days, so to speak. That being said, you're seeing guys you go up against in practice 4 or 5 days a week. Who are the toughest guys you've had to compete against in practice during your days at UIndy?
Toughest guys to go against. Definitely Rondell Weathers.
Who's on the field, by
He's
the
on
way.
the field right now.
Yeah.
He was very twitchy. He wasn't the biggest guy, but he's very fast, very strong. And then obviously guys like Lucas Rice will be coming up here shortly. Big, strong guys. And then I was more inside, so those are guys I kind of went against. But then on the outside, watching Schmatz and Eric Hart go at it. We had probably the best defensive line we'd go against. So it was great in practice to get to go against those guys.
Good open field tackle there. 6 or 7 yard gain on the first down snap by Fort Hayes.
And I think one of the things I remember before this game, leading up to it, Coach Bart, the one thing he said in the team meeting was they got a guy in 87 who's Hazlitt, and they fed him the ball all kinds of ways. He was in the Wildcat, and they've been throwing him the ball. I don't know what his stat line was, but it was probably pretty good. He was even returning the kicks, too. So
We had the big kick return
Yeah.
early in the first quarter. And to your point, your memory was fantastic because he had 14 catches for 103 yards
That's
in the
pretty good.
game.
He's their guy. So they got him the ball, and he was a great player. But they did a great job of containing him and limiting his explosive plays.
I asked the same question to Bart that I'll ask of you. Playing these guys, was there a particular team they might have reminded you of or played like that you competed against?
That they played like. I can't really say, honestly. They were a great team. I think it reminded me a little bit of that Harding game just because of the intensity and how hard everybody was going. They had a good front, and they had all MIAA conference accolade guys on the D-line and linebackers. They were loaded up front. So we just knew we had to come and play one of our best games as an offensive line and an offense, and obviously the defense too, but I'm talking mostly offense. So.
You scored 38 points. I think the offense did their job.
Hey, that was 7 points from the defense, though, so we got to give them that. That's no spoiler alert, but
Exactly. Again, since we all know the end outcome, I don't think I mind giving away some details during the course of the game. Anything in particular you remember about the crowd from this game?
So in a playoff game, we can only have a certain amount of UIndy football and like guys on the sideline.
Sure,
Same for the away. So
Yep.
the freshmen or people that aren't on the travel squad are in the stands too. So that's pretty cool when you get to see some of the younger guys or your friends that are in the stands. That's what I remember from this game specifically.
I think the pulling guards left a bit early.
Yeah, definitely.
Just a bit early
2 false starts in a row.
on that play. Obviously, what's unique about this too is that home playoff games usually noon. I think with Division II, and that's obviously not when you guys are used to playing. Normally, it is almost every game of maybe the last game of the year are 6 o'clock kickoffs. How do you describe the night game atmosphere you play at Key Stadium?
The night game atmosphere is awesome. It's such an advantage to get to play at night and under the lights and get all the fans out, all the families out. That's when most people are going to come out to the games, and really helps with the crowd. It's a great time. And then even get to having to experience that from a non-player, an alum, it was pretty cool. So it's definitely an advantage to play at night at Key Stadium.
First and 20. Good recovery by the defense for a pretty minimal gain by the quarterback.
Yeah, and I think he was a freshman, number 14. He might, I don't know if you have those notes, but I think he was a true freshman starting in this game, in a big playoff game, and he played a decent game as well. But they did throw in another quarterback too, I think.
That is correct. Redshirt freshman.
Redshirt, okay.
But freshman nonetheless.
Yeah.
He had spent his redshirt season growing that hair.
Definitely, it's impressive hair.
Second and long coming up.
Looks like he dropped the ball there. I think our defensive line got to him a couple times in this game. I don't know what the sacks and tackles for loss were, but I think they did have a pretty nice game.
3 sacks, 2 of those by Lucas Rice.
Yep.
That may have been the team sack
Yeah.
that was credited for a 9-yard loss.
Yeah.
6 tackles for loss in total.
Yeah. Defense played a great game up front. 3rd and 25, I don't really know what a play call here would be.
Just say from your perspective, what are you thinking of 3rd and 25 if that's you?
Probably hand it off here. That's about the only option. They do a little swing pass.
So here y'all getting the football back, 2 scores to the good. It's exactly where you want to be.
Yeah, it's definitely where we want to be. And I can't remember what exactly happens on this next series here, but if you think about it, you can take, in a perfect world, we take this ball, march it down, take a lot of time off the clock, and get at least 3 points, and then be ready for almost halftime. So that'd be the perfect world, but that's not how football is all the time.
So first 2 drives of the Greyhounds both resulted in touchdowns. First one went 75 yards. Next one goes 94 yards.
There's Davion Bell making some plays back here. Doesn't really get anywhere, but
I have seen him
yeah,
break 2 80-plus yards that really are like 140 yards of
yeah.
him actually running over the years.
So like what you and Coach Barr were talking about, he doesn't really have
Yeah,
a set
just
of
go.
rules. Just
Yeah.
go for it. That's Davion Bell right there.
Now, did you play much on the way of special teams?
No, I did not play any special. I
Okay.
played the PAT, field goal, protection
Sure,
team.
of course.
And then I was the backup long snapper for my junior year. So I did get 1 long snap in for PAT. So
I was going to say, how, to try to block for
1
Davion,
Yep.
I'm thinking, like,
Yeah,
oh my
no,
goodness.
I don't know.
Only hit the numbers in front of you because you never know which direction you're going.
Yep.
Or what'd you see on this play?
I think we ran a little outside zone here, and I don't know if Al might have saw color and cut it inside, but usually outside zone we want to take it almost all the way out. But nonetheless, gain of 2, still positive play. But
Tell me about the 4 guys along the offensive line with you in this game.
in this game we have at left tackle, I think is it TJ or
TJ,
Yeah,
yep.
TJ Singh. He's like you guys were talking about, Whiteland kid, and he at the beginning of this year he didn't even start the Grand Valley game. It was somebody else. It was Kyle Ball starting, and that really kind of knocked his confidence. But then came back week 2 against Wayne State, and he started and he played from then on out, lights out. He is a staple on that left tackle right there. And he can play any position as well. He can play center, he can play guard, he can play any side. He's a great player. Knows exactly what to do. Skylar Lacy, our left guard.
Who was with you for basically a year, right?
2 years.
2 years.
2
okay,
years. 2
2
years.
Okay.
And he, obviously, massive human. Tough to get around him, and good to play next to. Very long. So anytime we need to work together, it was always easy. And then to my right, Mitch Rugraff, right guard.
Whose parents live like 2 blocks from me because I walk by
Really?
their car with Rugraff 66 in Broad Ripple all the time. So
That's
yes.
funny. So Mitch, he
It's not to scare you, Mitch. I know where your mom and dad are because I literally walk by their house all the time.
this was his first full year of starting. He had got to play a lot in his career, but this is his first full year starting, and he really stepped up to have a great year, great culmination of his career. Played great. He actually broke his wrist earlier in the year, and still played through that. And played, I think maybe not his hand or his wrist, but played through that and did a great job.
Clay Hadley was the right tackle
Yeah.
to round out the 5.
Yeah.
But let's talk about that again. You know, we joke about 3rd and 25, hey, handoff, and that wasn't what you were thinking at 3rd and 8. That's confidence in your ability to run the
Yeah.
football, and it was a 7-yard pickup.
Yeah.
Kind of walk me through that play call on 3rd and 8.
Yeah, so on 3rd and 8, we knew that they were going to go into a 3 down front, which is only 3 down linemen. We really have the advantage to run the football. So we handed it there, got 7, needed 8. We knew that we knew that play would be called. We were just a yard short, which sometimes that happens. Come up a little short, but very close to getting that first down, which would have been nice. Like I was saying, could have turned that clock and went down, got some points, but turned it over to the defense here.
And we're all kind of waiting.
I don't know if is this a TV timeout or I don't know.
No such thing
No,
in this Division II playoff game.
no.
Not at this level. Means you and I have a shorter amount of time to talk. So 14-0, Greyhounds in front, midway through the second quarter. And first 2 drives for Fort Hays State. First one stalled around the 40, kind of the quarterback quick kick. Next drive goes 3 and out. And Bart talked about what they were doing to really focus on stopping the run game for Fort Hays State. Clearly we see a penalty, looks like a
that's what it was.
15-yard variety
Exactly.
was called against Fort Hays State here. So not exactly behind the chain, still going to be 1st and 10, but give up 15 yards of field position.
Yeah, and that's one thing Coach Bart always preached, 3 phases of the game: offense, defense, special teams. And special teams penalties really can hurt you and set you back, just like we see right here for them. But good in our case, so.
Looks like that was Parsons made that
Yeah,
play.
Alex
that time.
Parsons,
Yep.
North Montgomery.
So I think I can tell this story about Alex. So I am calling, I think, what is his final high school football game at North Montgomery against West Lafayette when Big George Karloff was playing at Purdue, was a freshman, I think, on that West Lafayette team. And so anyway, Parsons has this amazing one-handed interception
Really?
in this game. He's playing linebacker. He's having just an overall phenomenal game. And I literally send Casey Gillen a text message from the press box. I have no idea who's recruiting this kid.
Get him.
He's playing for North Montgomery. He might be overlooked. And within 5 minutes, get a note back. He's already committed. I said, okay,
Yeah,
Clark.
there we
All
go.
right.
Good.
Good to see that my scouting skills are, that I'm looking for the right type of
That's
player
awesome.
for the program.
That's a great story.
I don't do that often, folks, but every once in a while I'm like, hey, there might be a kid you want to take a look at here. And Coach Gillen clearly agreed with me.
That's awesome. I did not know that.
All right, so 3rd down, and it's a great route combo there.
Yeah, absolutely. And that wasn't the Hazlitt, so he was a little decoy there, I think.
Yep.
He was pushing up on the DB.
And go figure, 2 or 3 DBs followed
Yeah,
him.
exactly.
A little underneath pattern and key 1st down to kind of keep Fort Hays in it early. Was there something, knowing again, it had been a while since you guys had a playoff win, what did you guys try to do differently, kind of in the week of preparation, in the game in itself, to get over that hump?
I think it really came from the previous year. We had a big letdown in our home playoff game the year before, and we knew what it would take to get that win this year. Just a laser focus all week, knowing our assignments, just doing our job, everybody in all phases. That was really our motivation to really make a comeback from last year, or 2017 when we had that slip up.
By the way, that's a heck of a cutback by that running
That
back.
was, yeah. He had Lucas
Yeah.
falling on the
Yeah.
ground here, so we'll have to ask him about that.
Oh,
when he
that was
comes up.
Tigner that with that cutback.
Yeah.
That deserved a second look. I don't put that on Lucas. I put that on. It was a heck of a play made by the running back. How does a playoff game, just how does it feel different
Yeah,
compared to what you deal with in a regular season?
The atmosphere is definitely heightened. We got it just from both ways. We know that the other opposing team is going to give us their best on every snap, and we need to do the same, bring the same energy, and every play, one, 2, 3 plays are the difference in a game sometimes, and you got to be ready to make that play at any moment.
Yeah,
So.
credit to Fort Hays, man. They upped their level. I mean,
Absolutely.
after the first couple of drives on both sides of the ball, their defense clearly made some adjustments in the 3rd drive, and they're making some great catches, some great cutbacks.
Oh, yeah.
And so they answered the bell on this drive.
Nice little inside run there.
Is there a particular point in time we talked about, okay, the start of a drive, offensive line coach is talking to you, or coordinator, and Coach Bart, whatever the case may be. Is there like a certain part of the field, like, okay, we're going to get the ball back here soon, so I think there may be points going on the board. Is there a certain kind of spot you go, okay, time to get ready because we're going back out?
Usually when a team gets inside the 10-yard line, it's
Yeah.
like, all right, defense
Time to go back to work.
might be giving up some points here, so let's go. And there's Hazlitt catching another pass right there. Almost had it in the backfield.
In one sense, you're like, all right, it could have been a loss, but you hold their best player to a yard or two.
Yeah.
Pretty good there. So 2nd down. Clock rolling here past the 5.5-minute mark, left to go before halftime.
That's a deep fade here. It's a nice throw
That's-
and
yeah,
a nice
that's-
catch. Yeah.
There's 3 or 4 plays in that drive. You just go, hey, they're a really good football team. I mean, I'm not sure how you defend that any better.
Got to tip your cap to him. That's a great throw and great catch right there.
Take one more look at it here. Especially when knowing your ice lats. Mitch DeWitt,
Yeah.
that is in coverage, and I mean, he literally is on it. That's not even a back shoulder throw.
No,
that's
that's-
just a perfectly placed ball.
Yeah. And Mitch DeWitt is an all-conference guy. He's no chump out there on the edge. So
So again, it's a playoff game. You know the other team's good too. They won a fantastic league. So this makes it 14-7. What's the difference in your mindset, if there is one this early in the game, between 14-0 and 14-7?
Just got to keep playing, play the next play. Coach Bart always preaches that. That's ingrained in my mind. Defense had a little slip up. I mean, we're going to give up big plays. That happens. You just got to play the next play, and that's what we're going to do on offense. We're going to go out and try to get more points, try to execute and drive the ball down the field, get some points. And their kicker was very good too. He would put it in the end zone. I think they hit a long field goal later in this game too. He was even making tackles on special teams. And I do remember that number 40 making some plays on special teams for them.
Memory serves me right, that was the number that Pat McAfee wore at West Virginia.
Did he really?
So not surprising that the kicker wearing 40s out there
making plays,
trying to knock some dudes on their backside.
Pat McAfee, that's awesome. And he doesn't really look like a kicker. He looks like he could play a defensive back or linebacker. Here's Matteo, and he called a fair catch. So we'll get it at the 25, right?
Correct.
Yep.
Rule had changed by that point in time. So when you're starting to drive, anything in particular that you're kind of trying to focus on from a mindset standpoint?
Just really communication is the biggest thing. Coming from center, communicating. If they're going to do anything different, like you said, they're making adjustments. Maybe they come out on a different front, and we need to communicate that. That's the biggest thing, just constantly evaluating what the defense is lining up in. And if they're doing anything different, like see we have some movement up there. If they're doing anything different, just communicating to each other and making plays. And there's Malik Higgins making another catch.
All right, so we see that little zone read, fake the handoff. So as the center, are you blocking it any different than if it's pass versus run? How do you handle that?
Yeah, that's what they call an RPO, run pass option, and it is if they call it, we're blocking like a run, and if he pulls it and throws it, then that's a pass.
Because he's going to throw it so quickly, it doesn't affect how you're blocking.
It does,
correct?
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
You're not setting for pass pro there.
Nope.
Okay. See, I'm learning something if nothing else doing this today. What is it like blocking for a guy like Alma Keller?
It's makes us look good. He's a heck of a back. I still vividly remember that first game against Grand Valley at home. The way he played in that game, I knew we had a special guy. And even in camp before that, but the way he played as a true freshman was unbelievable. And then this play right here, 3rd and short, we go for a hard count, and they jump off sides and run into me, and we get an easy first down.
Yeah, I have to remember that you still have a year of eligibility. I was about to ask you a question. Hey, is there any tricks of the trade that you do as a center to try to? You're going to play again this year, so I have to wait for you to ask you that question. Bart's retired. I can ask him those questions now.
Absolutely.
It's fine.
Yeah.
You got to keep the trade
Yeah.
secrets. I can't spoil anything for you.
Yeah, but we get the first down here on that. That's what we do a good, and that's pretty much every team in football. Anytime you have anything under 4 or 5 yards, trying to get somebody to jump off sides, get a cheap first down.
How good was the hard count of Jake Perica?
Pretty good. And even on that play, he went under center there. But in our offense, he actually claps, and then I would say set go. So it is kind of interesting that I would say that sometimes.
So hang on a second.
Yeah.
That was your hard count.
It was.
So you being the offensive lineman that you were, very subtly just said, hey, he didn't do that.
Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah, we don't get a lot of credit, so yeah.
Okay, lead with that next time, okay? Again, we're giving stuff away as you still have a year of eligibility left to go.
Yeah.
Is that common or is that rare?
I don't know how a lot of other people do it. Because we have the clap and then I say set go or the center says set go, but then some people just go with the clap and then the center
and
says
just go, right?
Yeah. It was a great run by Toriano right here.
56 yards.
Yep, but he gets caught.
Which is rare.
He's that track guy. You think he won't get caught, but he got run down. But I think on this, we had an outside zone play called, and the backside guard gets a great cut block. Just gets enough of the D tackle. Just gets enough of them. Have a great lane right here, and then off to the races for Toriano.
It's funny, and obviously, runner always has the option. Make the Broncos made the phrase one cut very popular.
Yeah.
See the block, and they made zone blocking popular too. But see the cut back inside. It's funny to see that listed as outside zone, knowing he never got outside the hash mark. He's only 30 yards down the field.
Yeah. Zone is really a feel thing. Can go one way or the other every time. Always have that cut back. And we did have some problems here with it inside the 5-yard line when they had their goal line package. They had they covered everybody up and made it hard for us up front to make our blocks, and they also were bringing some blitzes at times, and made it difficult for us. So right there we ran a speed option to the right and didn't have anything going there. And let's see what we come back with here on second down. This is Malik wanted to flag on this. When you watch it again, I don't know if they'll show it again, but he does get hit, and the refs didn't call it, and it could have gone both ways. Obviously, it didn't go for us, but that's one thing you got to play through. Now we got third and second down? Third down?
Third and goal. It'll
Third
be
and
third
goal.
eventually. Yep.
I think this is the play that Coach Bart was talking about when we get some pick routes coming. I think that's what we got coming up here.
Well, you're still playing. You need to call them rub routes.
Yeah, rub routes.
We can call them pick plays for guys that's retired. By the way, I know you're a Cincinnati guy, but Reggie Wayne, the king of the pick play during his days playing for the Indianapolis Colts. All right, so timeout's going to be called. So it's third and goal from the 3. What's kind of going through your mind as far as from a play call standpoint? What's going to work here from 3 yards out?
We can run the ball. We can definitely run the ball. We know what looks we're probably going to get. It would just take a good execution across the board. We can run the ball. But then if you pass, we saw in that first touchdown, Davion was wide open. So if we can get a little option or rake route, whip route, and get some separation because that tight man coverage on the goal line from the DBs, we can do that too. Really, just whatever Coach Gillen was calling is what I'm okay with. So we're rolling with him.
Quickly moving first down. You guys have a lot of those.
Yeah.
Your guys' games tend to go.
Yeah, I think with Coach Bart's philosophy of running the ball and shortening the game.
Run and stretch late in the game. Yeah.
Shortening that game.
So you were just looking at the play clock going, okay, 2, set, go? Yeah, and I get that completely.
Exactly. But yeah, running the ball, controlling the game, shortening the game, and helping keep that defense fresh is huge.
All right, so you kind of got 2 bunches on both sides, then you motion Davion across the formation here.
Yeah.
Flag thrown.
Yeah.
What'd you see?
I think they show this again, but it's a rub concept. We're trying to get Davion open in the flat. Yeah, here's the replay. And it's kind of not a great call, but I think when they see Joe Sarabia at 45,
Can't put your hands out like that.
Yeah.
I think you can let the guy bump into you. You can't have your hands
Can't
extended
initiate
like
that contact, and I think that's what they saw and interpreted. So
let the defender run into you, kids.
Yeah.
Learning something as to how to run a
Yeah.
pick play on the broadcast today.
And I think this sets us back 15 yards, 10, 15 yards. So not great.
It was interesting, and it's unique. In other words, like if you're defense, and I think I would take the penalty too. In theory, you stop the other team short of the goal line.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, do I give them the ball 4th and 1, or do I move them back 10 yards and make it 3rd and goal? And again, given how you guys run the football, I think I do the exact same. Take 10 yards, and I'll give you another down to go after.
Absolutely.
So back to the 13. Or back to the 18, 15-yard penalty.
I think we go with an empty set here.
So there's not much in the playbook for 3rd and 18
Yeah.
when it's 18 and the defense has a restricted area in which they have to cover.
In the red zone, this is a tough call.
Yeah.
You pretty much.
This is almost a what hash does your kicker want the ball on?
Yeah. I think we actually do try and score on this. Going with the empty set, we don't even try to run the ball. Then I think Forhay's just called timeout. Talk it over. wanted to see what we were coming out with.
All right, it's not as big of a deal now because you see guys like Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, and everything kind of, from a fan standpoint, trickles from the NFL on down. But I know Jake, I know the family, they're kind of the backstory. There were larger schools that told him, I won't say which ones on camera, but there were larger schools that told him, hey, if you were an inch or two taller, we'd take you. So, all right, now you've got a definite passing situation. As a lineman, did you have to block any differently because your quarterback was about 6 foot tall?
We did a lot of things. I mean, not really. Like sometimes he probably couldn't see over us at times. I mean, he's just not as tall. But I think the coaches did a great job because he's not the tallest guy. They moved the pocket, what do they call the launch point? They moved that. They moved the pocket, do some rollouts, throws on the run. He was obviously great at that. That was kind of our bread and butter at times. He could throw on the run and do whatever he wanted outside.
And
the
Jake
pocket.
was great about changing his release point to throw around.
Oh,
guys,
absolutely,
too.
absolutely.
Yep. Saw that dating back to his covering his days at Cardinal Ritter in high school.
Breaking all the Indiana records.
Seen those slants through linemen at times that he would throw.
So we're looking for Ryan Topper there.
Yep.
Over the middle, almost catch it, but
And Topper is the big play guy.
yeah, he is.
Yeah.
I think his yard. I think he was in D2, like top yards after catch, or just yards per catch. I think.
So I see old number 58 staying on the field.
Yep, there we go.
On kick protect.
The wing, yeah.
Are you demanding for a play every now and again? You're finally an eligible receiver playing in that wing position.
Yeah, but my number's ineligible, so I can never catch the ball unless I would report or something like
And
that.
Boozman's kick is good.
Paul Boozman putting it in.
So back to a 2-score lead just before halftime.
Yeah, and we do our job. We take some time off the clock, and I think it's 17-7 now with under 2 minutes left. So
Correct.
now it's just up to the defense to get a stop, and then
When there's a $1:49 left to go before halftime, are you thinking we're getting the ball back here, or are you kind of?
if we do get the ball back, we probably, unless there was a turnover or something, we'd probably
Right.
just take a knee and
Yep.
head in the locker room.
I was gonna say, is it tough to stay engaged?
Yeah,
You're thinking about taking that break.
And that's also kind of coaching philosophy, because Coach Bart was more of a conservative guy, if you guys didn't know that. But if we got the ball back with little time on the clock, unless we got it in their territory, we'd probably just be running out the clock. So it's a lot of coaching too. You kind of know who your coach is and
Sure.
how you're going to play. Paul Boozman, Fort Wayne Snyder. There's Hazlitt taking out the end zone. Oh, big hit.
That's still a 30-yard return.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, pales in comparison to his first one. That's still 30 yards down the field.
He was their guy, man. He could go. And they wanted to get him the ball in any way possible.
And both teams had used a couple of timeouts. There's not exactly a lot of chances to stop the clock. Obviously, it does every first down coming up here, but both teams are a little shy on timeouts to begin this drive. That was a heck of a collision.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's Kyle Petroff on that one.
And frankly, it's also, that high-speed collision is, why kickoffs, they're legislated a little bit differly.
In the NFL
These
especially,
days.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think you can't even get a running start in the NFL anymore. And
Correct.
There's no double teams allowed, and really changing for the safety of the players, which is good. But it's definitely changed a lot. And now the fair catches too, even outside
Correct.
the hash.
Football will never be completely safe, but that's part of why
Absolutely.
some rules have been changed, knowing that such a significant percentage of injuries have happened on kick coverage because of the level of athlete, because of the speed. That is correct. So Kyle Petroff Former Roncalli player who was injured on that one.
Good to see him walk off the field.
Yep. So drive at the 30-yard line. Getting less than 2 minutes to play here before halftime. And Fort Hays will have, you heard me giving Coach Bart some grief about them. Like, you actually wanted the ball first to start a game?
Yeah, so they will be getting it back, too. Started out here with a deep bomb. Parsons
The defensive guys never get pass interference, do they?
Never.
Parsons asking where's the flag. You're not getting that, buddy.
Oh, man.
Only if the offensive guy creates an advantage where he can catch it.
Yeah. But there have been some questionable offensive pass interferences called in the NFL recently.
True.
In the first couple of weeks. There he is again.
Good throw.
Great throw, great catch.
It's 25 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of run that route right between second and third levels, that defense.
And the clock stopped momentarily for that first down, so they have a whole minute and 25 seconds to go try and score here. Little shovel pass to the running back right there. I think our D-line, obviously, like we were talking about earlier, got great pressure all day, which trying to stay back there with them in your face is never going to be easy.
Timeout taken by Fort Hays, obviously. Second down and 11. About a minute 15 left to go before halftime. To be able to have a 2-score lead going to the break, how important is that?
That's huge, absolutely huge. 2 scores, you're up 2 scores, and then you're at home too. And then we're a team that likes to play good defense and run the football to shorten the game. So 2 scores is huge in our situation. And we rep this a lot in practice, 2-minute drill both ways. We go offense versus defense, and this is a big execution thing. Like, we know they know the kind of routes they're probably going to be running, and we're going to try and get to the quarterback and try and prevent them from scoring. And
what a throw.
That ball,
I mean, my goodness, there's 4 guys. I'm watching that, and I'm like, the safety or the linebacker made the absolute right read, and I'm like, he's going to pick that.
Yeah, that got through about 4 guys, like you said. To 87, once again, they're just all over the field.
So under a minute now before halftime. Good open field tackle.
Nice tackle by Cole Sigmund right there.
You just talked about they got a good kicker as well, so already in field goal range if that's the case. Found the soft spot in that zone. Now easily within field goal range, the 15-yard line. Now they're thinking touchdown here.
Yeah.
Trying to make this a 3-point game at halftime.
Yeah, and then they run a pick route here too. This is an adjustment they made. When you talk about adjustments, they formation us out to the right, and they pick Joe Lambright on this, and we'll see the replay right here.
Yep.
It's a good adjustment, and we can be looking for that flag for offensive pass interference, but
didn't extend his hands. That's a legal play. Defender ran into him.
So, but that's huge. I mean, they score right before half, and that kind of takes the wind out of you. It's like, oh, we could have had that.
I was gonna say, you nailed it. I was gonna say that has to be awfully deflating.
Yeah.
You're up 14-0, and you have the ball.
Yeah.
And now it's a 3-point game going to halftime.
Especially you're leading the whole first half comfortably, and then right at the end, they come in and score there. So.
You've played in nearly 40 football games for the University of Indianapolis at this point. Remember the halftime speech? Remember the halftime meeting from this one?
We went in ahead. It wasn't like we were playing terrible or anything. There's obviously some things we needed to shore up, but we were doing what we needed to do on offense. We were running the ball, controlling that line of scrimmage. I think defensively, their offense made some good adjustments, like that play right there. So they just had to kind of regroup, see what they were doing, and learn from the mistakes that they had made. And just like us on offense, we learn from what they're doing and just go out and do your job and play as hard as you can. That was pretty much it. And we're at home, so we don't lose at home.
Just sitting here thinking, it's got to be a pretty unique feeling in your case when you think your chance to do something like this is over, and now you get one more opportunity to do it.
Yeah, definitely a very unique
Yeah.
situation, and I'm very excited and happy that it worked out. Life is very crazy. Couldn't believe it. I never would imagine I'd be doing it again, so I'm excited. Pooch kick, Toriano gets the 35, but I think there's 15 seconds here.
Right.
Probably going to take a knee. Judging by that short little huddle, I think that's what we're doing.
I always look for the one guy from my vantage point in the press box is the guy going 15 yards behind the ball.
Yeah,
okay.
We're taking a knee.
Yeah. Obviously, you see the double wingback formation.
Yep.
Take a knee and go to halftime. Dan, a pleasure, man.
Yep.
Thanks for doing this for us.
It was fun.
It is great to have you back on campus.
Yeah.
Look forward to seeing you playing this spring.
Yep.
All right, so at halftime of our homecoming rewind, the score is 4th seed University of Indianapolis 17, 5th seed Fort Hays State 14. Through the magic of television or the internet, whatever this may be, we're going to come back with third quarter action. The halftime show is going to fly by, and a new guest will be sitting in Dan's seat. Back after this. Welcome back. It's now time for third quarter action here in a homecoming rewind. Again, we're going back and rewatching and talking about the 2018 playoff victory for the University of Indianapolis against Fort Hays State out of Kansas. I'm Greg Rakestraw, now joined by the guy that was wearing number 93 during that game, outstanding defensive lineman for UIndy out of Mount Vernon High School. It is Lucas Rice that joins us now. Lucas, thank you so much for doing this. And when you think about that victory, what are kind of some of the first memories that come to mind?
Yeah, no, it was definitely probably one of the most exciting wins, of our career. And we worked really hard to get that win. I think it was only the second one in program history. So really great day.
All right, so it's 14-0 at one point. They make a comeback. It's now 17-14 you're leading. Anything in particular might stand out from you, maybe from halftime or what you guys talked about in terms of adjustments for half number 2 from that game?
No, I think we wanted to do the same things that we did in the first half. We let up a little bit to end it, so just wanted to get back to how we started and put together a good second half.
All right, so with that, let's get now to the third quarter of action. Again, UIndy won the toss, elected to have the football, and they would score on the opening drive. So Fort Hays trailing by 3, but Boozman about to kick this thing off for UIndy and get us to the second half. Same thing I asked Dan, you guys used to playing under the lights at Key Stadium. What was it like playing a daytime game?
Yeah, definitely. I loved playing under the lights, so missed playing under them for the playoff game, but definitely we're still just as amped up.
All right, kick returns getting, from a coverage standpoint, getting better for UIndy after the first one crossed the 50. This one taken down inside of the 25-yard line. What memories do you have of kind of their personnel from this game, Lucas?
Yeah, no, I remember 87 was a great player. That's the one that really stands out to me. He makes a lot of plays in this game and definitely did some damage against us. And then the quarterback was really good too. He could move and had a good arm. O-line was definitely solid as well.
So hand-hopper to get things started. And talking with Coach Bart, he said really slowing down their running game was your guys' first goal in this game.
Yeah, and I think we accomplished that for the most part. They really had to rely on the pass, which they did make some big plays in the pass game, but stopping the run was always rule number 1 for us. I think that's something ever since I was involved in the program. We really just wanted to stop the run, first things first.
First down pickup on the pass. You reference 87. Harley Hazlitt had 14 catches in this game. That wasn't him that made the grab, but they moved the chains there.
Wow, I didn't know it was 14.
He had a bunch. All right, tell me about the guy you're lining up next to, a defensive tackle, Rondell Weathers. Tell me about him.
Yeah, Rondell's a super explosive and powerful guy. I think he used to clean almost 400 pounds. So you can definitely see it when he comes off the ball, how explosive he was. Big number 48, Jacob Schmatz, was my roommate all 4 years. Put on like 50 pounds over his career, so good to see he was big out there.
A little yard after the catch for them for a first down. Obviously, when you're a defensive tackle, you don't have to maybe worry about this as much as the defensive backs, as much as the linebacker, so to speak. But, every offense now is 3 wide, 4 wide, 5 wide, trying to spread the field. Did that make that big of a difference to you, knowing you were so focused on the action in between the tackles?
Yeah, no, it didn't really affect me. We obviously got the personnel group right away, but my main key was the guy in front of me who was always the guard of the center, so it didn't really have an effect on me, but really affected the ends for sure.
You're looking to throw on the slant. Another catch for a first down. It's an outstanding drive to get things started here for Fort Hays State. Begin the third quarter. Trying to get over that playoff hump. Again, by the time this game has happened, the Hounds have now been in the playoffs, I think 5 of the last 7 seasons, but hadn't won a playoff game in 6 years. How big of a motivating factor was that for you guys going into this one?
Yeah, no, that was our main motivation the whole season, and the year before we lost a heartbreaker at home. So we really wanted to get back and make a statement in the playoffs for sure. I always thought it was tough coming out of halftime. I don't know, it's just hard to get yourself, after playing that hard for 30 minutes and then taking 20 minutes off, it was tough to get your legs and everything back going.
All right, so back-to-back runs. It'll be about 3rd and 5. What's going through your mind, not so on this play specifically, but 3rd and 5 coming up. What are you kind of keying on thinking about?
I think where they're at in the field, it could be 4-down territory, so I'm still thinking run probably first thought, but knowing that it could easily be a pass situation, so just reading my key and then hoping to get to the quarterback if they pass. Looks like we got a little bit of pressure on them too.
Unfortunately, on a defensive back, tackle, a receiver.
Yep.
Little pump and go that led to a collision. How do you bounce back from a penalty on 3rd down like that?
You just got to treat it as it's any play. We practice all the time. Big play, coming back and stopping the run or making a stop on the next play. You can't think about it at all. You just got to keep playing. Kievers, I've heard Kievers say keep playing thousands of times in my life, so it sticks with you.
I think he's saying in the control room right now.
You might be.
Great coverage.
Yeah.
That was DeWitt on coverage that time. Tell me about Mitch.
Mitch is awesome. I actually, he's interning at the company that I'm working with, so still see Mitch. I saw him all summer, and then he works a couple days a week while he's still in school. So good to have some Hounds in the office every day. I think even with, you said he had 14 catches, but I still feel like we limited 87 a little bit, just because he was their main guy, and we were able to keep him somewhat in check.
A little underneath route for a touchdown.
Right after I say that.
Yep.
Touchdown.
That was his only touchdown of the day.
Yeah.
And to your point, he averaged about 7 or 8 yards a catch, which for a player of his skill set is pretty important. But here it is. Fort Hays State comes out and takes the lead to start the third quarter. So when you're a player and you go from 14-0 up to 20 or 21-17 down, what's going through your mind?
Yeah, I think a little bit of panic starts to creep in, so you just got to make sure that you're not letting that overwhelm you, and you got to just keep yourself composed, and you know that the momentum could shift at any point. I think it was great, too. We always had confidence in our offense, and I feel like our offense had a lot of confidence in us. So that was really helpful, too.
We talked about this with Dan in the last segment. So, all right, when you're coming off the field, obviously the offense now is going to go do their thing. How much of that drive are you actually watching? How much are you, in meetings and in conversation on the sideline?
I don't know if I probably saw more than 10% of the offensive plays the whole season, just because we would always be meeting right away as soon as the drive was over. Sometimes if they did drive for 7 or 8 minutes, we'd get to see some of it, but usually missed most of them.
Which is not uncommon for that offense to pull out a 7 or 8 minute lengthy drive.
Yeah. Kievers would get the big whiteboard out, and we'd start drawing it up and figuring it out for the next time out.
What was it like going against that group in practice every day?
Oh, it was great. It definitely made us better. One of the better O-lines that I played against, and obviously in the backfield had great guys, Alma Keller, and throughout my whole career had really good running backs. And then going against Jake always makes you better too. So definitely got better every day going against them.
Now, can we reference the fact you're from Mount Vernon? A lot of local guys you just referenced amongst that group. Not all local guys. How many of these guys that you were teammates with at UIndy were guys you competed against while you were in high school?
I would say I've definitely played against a few. I don't know an exact number, but played like in the North-South All-Star game with quite a few guys, and just knew about him like coming up. Jake was Mr. Football runner-up, so knew who he was, and you hear a lot of guys' names, and it was cool to come out and play together. 21 straight points by then. We've got to at least get a little bit of a drive together, give the defense a break, hopefully get the momentum shifted back in our direction.
Folks, I can tell you in the second half, expect to see a heavy dose of Alma Keller. And on cue, first handoff. This one plays well read by Fort Hays State. Certainly noticeable to me that on the Saturday before Thanksgiving, you guys are all wearing short sleeves.
I don't remember the temperature for this game, but I'm sure it was chilly.
Not everybody could have been tough guys. I mean, it must have been legitimately warm for that time of year. Certainly remember how crazy stormy it was the year before.
Oh, man. That was
the game against Harding.
One of the worst weather games I've ever played in, going up top here. It's always fun to watch Jake let it loose. He's got one of the best arms I've seen or been around.
So 3rd and 12, as a defender, what's going through your mind knowing you got 3rd and 12?
You're definitely just reared back and ready to get to the quarterback. I mean, if they run it, just do what you can and just let them get a few yards, but you got to be thinking pass 100% or screen possibly would be the other thing that I'm worried about.
Blitz coming. Nowhere to go with that.
Not the drive you want there. 3 and out. It's tough after giving up a long score. The defense is definitely a little bit gassed, but I think we rebound well.
I was going to say, what did you guys do to turn it around?
I think we kept playing. That's all it was. Really just believed in each other and in the system and just kept grinding it out. Quarterback the punt team right here.
So you got some time on special teams, huh?
Yeah, all 4 years played a lot of special teams. I was the personal protector on the punt team my last 2 years, and then I was on field goal every year as well. So definitely still was on the special teams.
They ever let you run a fake?
No fakes. Every once in a while in practice, we'd try or practice, like if there was a fumbled snap and I'd get to run a little corner route, but that was about as exciting as it got.
Now the important question, any punt blocks allowed?
Not while I was out there, but
That's all I needed to know right there. That's all I needed to know.
Kievers was in charge of punt team, so I remember one in particular that we had blocked. He wasn't happy. Spent a lot of time on punt, at least 15 minutes every day. Running back was really shifty too, I remember that.
Tigner 11 carries, 57 yards. But the other players combined for a total of 31 yards running in the game. Parsons with the push out. In the pump and go. This one, a little better coverage. And that's asking the DBs to cover for a long time on that play, too.
Yeah, that was something that we prepped a lot for. He could move around and make plays, and that's one of the hardest things as a DB is scramble drill. So really needed to keep him in the pocket and get to him when we could.
And if memory serves me right, you guys would dial up the occasional blitz, but it was oftentimes on you four up front to get to the quarterback, correct?
Yeah, we definitely weren't the most aggressive on defense, but I think it helped those guys in the back end, and being able to rush four is a big attribute if you can do it.
All right, what's the difference in 2nd and 10 and 2nd and 15 from a defensive perspective?
I think still we play the run in second down regardless of the distance. You're definitely more conscious of that being a pass play, but we still play the run second down all the time, but maybe have a little bit more of some sort of line stun or something like that, thinking that it could be a pass. Good coverage again there.
What makes it so tough? And I realize your job was inside the tackles, if not guard center, but I'm going to ask you a defensive back question here. So, we saw Davion Bell score that first drive on a bunch. You see trips. Why is that so tough to cover for a defense?
Yeah, it's just so many personnel groupings now that you got to remember what routes they run out of what, and then just getting crossed up. I think we saw to end the first half a lot of picks now in today's game, and just being able to stay with your guy or your responsibility is just really challenging with all the personnel groupings.
Quarterback going to tuck it and run.
I think we had some sort of missed assignment there.
Yeah.
I remember watching this. Somebody was off the it might have been me or it was Schmatz. One of us was supposed to be on the outside here. He was able to escape left.
3rd and 15. That's a big pickup.
Yeah.
And steps out of bounds. That could have been 6. Could have been a 2-score lead going the other direction.
We'll have to give the blame to Jacob Schmatz there.
Because he's not the one on camera.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one thing our linebackers were really able to cover anybody, which is absolutely huge, being able to play in space but also get in the run game. It's a big advantage to have guys that can do that.
Good job of stuffing the run there.
That was a big play.
You were part of that.
I think going into the game, we knew that their O-line, I think they had a couple young guys, and we came in knowing that we were going to run a lot of stunts, which we did anyways, but knew they struggled moving their feet and picking up guys on stunts. So I think we probably run some sort of stunt right here, I'm thinking. Yeah. Right there, we run an A-go. Gives the ends the option to either slant inside or play outside, and then the D tackles kind of have to pay attention to what the ends are doing and write whatever they do. Able to get a stop, which we desperately needed.
Great play by Robert Williams, too, knocking that ball away.
Yeah, big game for Robert here.
Let's see, force a field goal try. This one from 39 yards away. You on kick block team as well here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kept most of the defense pretty much stayed in for kick block team.
Difference in a 39-yarder and a 44-yarder can be awfully big here.
Yeah. Special teams penalties are a game changer.
Who was the best you played with in terms of blocking kicks? Who was the guy that has the best chance of getting a hand on it?
I'd have Lee Campbell, actually. Looking back, Lee Campbell was really good at it. He was able to penetrate the guys, and I know he definitely had a couple in his career. Tommy Taylor had a few as well. Tommy could jump for a guy his size.
All right, so this one from 44 now. Good anyway. All right, so they scored 10 points to start the third quarter. And it goes from 14-0, you're up, to 24-17, you're down. What's going through your mind at this point?
I think we're happy we were able to at least just force 3 there and keep it a one-possession game. But offense knows that they got to put a little drive together here and get the momentum back in our direction, because it's definitely things are going south for us.
What do you see in here from those first 2 drives saying, okay, we should have seen that quicker, looking back at it from 2 years ago, or hey, we should have recognized this? Anything different as you look at it now?
Yeah, I think like we let a 3rd and 15 go, which, I mean, once you get somebody in that position, you got to get off the field. I think just playing sound defense was probably the biggest thing. There was definitely a few MAs throughout our game, and just looking back, if we would have just everybody did their job, we would have been all right. It was nice, though. We had a lot of big play guys, so at any time, game could shift quickly. Just
Here's
like
a big
that.
play.
Yeah, right there.
Kicker made a nice play there on the kick return from Aaron Matteo.
Matteo's just a great all-around athlete. Made a lot of plays during his career.
If you're going to take the ball away from the other return man that's got track level speed, you better make a big play.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly what you need. Like you talked about, 24 straight points. You need something like that to get things going.
Jake was hit as he threw that one. That's one of those plays that's got to be there after a couple of seconds, and it's not, many other options.
Mm-hmm. I was with Jake just this past weekend, so still really good friends, and we actually lived together for our senior year.
Another 3rd and long coming up here.
Huge play for us right here. It's going back-to-back 3-and-outs after 2 scoring drives from them. Really need to pick up a first down.
Now, is Jake aware, does Jake brag that he is still on display at Lucas Oil Stadium? He's one of 3 high school players that has a life-size picture of him.
He's definitely aware. He's always been a pretty quiet, humble guy, but people make him aware that it's still there for
Jake,
sure.
I walk by your picture on my way to every Indy 11 and Colts game that I do. I see you, Terry McLaurin, and one of Jeff George's kids in the southwest corner of Lucas Oil Stadium.
Bought the house again here.
Good scramble to buy time, but just nothing open. So here's a 3 and out, here, and the defense has to come back on the field.
Yeah. No, this is a tough point in the game, but a lot of work we put in to be able to withstand things like this, and I think right here we're able to get back on track.
Telling me things are about to turn around, huh?
Yeah. Feels like it. Great kick.
As a defender, what is it like when the other team has to start their drive at the 12-yard line?
I think it gives you a ton of confidence. You know, our defense was made to kind of bend, not break, and we felt really confident that somebody couldn't go 88 yards on us. So really made us feel like we were going to be able to get off the field quick. I think we really start to stuff the run right here.
Yep.
I think they had to start turning to the pass pretty much for the majority of the rest of the game.
I asked you about the guy to your left side in Rondell. Who's the guy lined up outside to your right side?
It's Eric Hart. We were together all 4 years. Lebanon guy, another local, but hell of a player and even better guy. Really liked playing with Eric.
Good deep coverage. It's Williams again. And no, sir, you're not getting a flag out of that. There was no flag there. So now 3rd down and 9. Now, maybe if you had 3rd and 15, but that's at the 40-yard line. Now it's 3rd and 9, and it's inside of their own 15. This has got to be big for you guys here.
Yeah, no, we definitely want to make a big play and can't let up anything.
Screen. There
But
it is.
Huge play.
Yep.
Shifts the field position as well. So not what we wanted.
And again, opposite the 3 receiver side as well. It's a great play call.
He was really good in space. Tough to track down.
It's about a 25-yard pickup. Clock rolling too.
Huge tackle right
Yep.
there. Joe Lambright's one of the fastest linebackers I've seen. Had a really great career as well. Another guy that was real fun to play with. Made a ton of plays.
You talk about what they were able to do in pass coverage. You guys didn't have to sub out of your base defense very often, did you? You were able to kind of leave the same personnel on the field
Yeah.
for the most part.
Yeah, no, we definitely kept it pretty simple, which I think was good. You know, a lot of people overcomplicate it, makes it tough on you.
Again, solid run to set up 3rd and much more manageable. So now what's going through your mind on 3rd and 4?
3rd and 4 is tough. You could do a lot of things here. It could be, you know, you could easily run it, or it could be a quick pass. Screen's still probably not out of the question, but 3rd and 4, it's tough.
Collapsing pocket. Had to have that play.
We were able to get to him there.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
And there you are exiting after the play.
Yeah, we had to get a stop there. Feels like if we can just keep getting stops, the offense is eventually going to break through.
Right, so the offense at this point in the second half, 2 3-and-outs. Clearly things change.
I think the biggest thing when you're struggling like that is you just got to get that first down. Give everybody some confidence that you can move the ball and just get one after another.
Free 15 yards, unfortunately.
I'm sure Bart wasn't happy about that one.
No. That's a significant difference in field position. Back to the 15-yard line.
Really just been beating ourselves this whole third quarter. Let a couple big plays go on long third downs. We've had a few penalties. Just haven't moved the ball well either. Just all around hurt ourselves.
Solid 5-yard pickup by Al.
Feed that guy enough, those good things will happen.
He did have 29 carries in this game, so that would be a constant.
Yeah.
You referenced the North-South All-Star game you played in, and that's one of the first chances I had to watch Al play. I think the other running back got hurt on his team, so Al got like 25 carries in an All-Star game. It was a sign of things to come for him at the University of Indianapolis.
I'm guessing they took home the win.
I think Al was the game MVP, if I remember properly.
Sounds right.
Finds a seam here. And again, he could have stepped out of bounds.
Yeah.
That's not let me hit somebody. Let me get 3 or 4 more yards.
And then helped up the guy that he ran over. It's nothing more disrespectful than that. Really excited to watch him play this year. Had a great career so far and probably going to own every possible rushing record there is.
So there's that first down. Again, go kind of against the grain, though, so to speak there. Same formation, but throw out of it. Just to give the defense a little something different to look at. Credit Fort Hays State, and there's a flag.
Yeah.
A little too much on the coverage, but they did a great job of adjusting defensively because Higgins was wide open for a good chunk of the first half.
Yeah, it's a tough guy to guard right there. Another guy I was lucky to play with for all 4 years and be a captain with, so loved being able to get a win with him in this game.
So again, another free first down this time on the penalty. And Fort Hays State ended up with a good amount of penalty yardage in this game. Penalized 10 times for 84 yards. UIndy 5 times for 60 yards.
I don't know the exact statistic on it, but it feels like there were pretty much every game in my career we had less penalty yards than the other team, so always a big factor.
And this is where you start to see that collective offensive line and McKellar, kind of that pounding, start to really kind of show up for UIndy. What are you seeing there from a blocking perspective, Lucas?
Yeah, just physical at the point of attack, and then Al making guys miss at the second level. I know firsthand those guys could really, when they combo blocked and things like that, could really move you.
Oh,
Big hit.
it's going to be called helmet to helmet, looks like, too.
Big break there for us.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, for how small Davy is, really doesn't get hit that hard that often.
I legitimately think Davion has a chance at the next level as a punt returner.
Yeah.
That he is that good of a return man.
No, we saw it day one his freshman year. He had a ton of huge returns and shown it throughout all 4 years.
Again, a few years ago, there's no question on that hit. That's just part of football, but it's a different game now.
That's a tough play when you're the defender. There's not much you could do. I mean, he had his head up, but just hard with the angle that Davey came in at.
So 15 yards at the end of the play. So second first down by penalty on the drive. And that's tough. Certainly a benefit for the Greyhounds, but
yeah, when you're on the receiving end of that, it's definitely challenging.
Yeah. But you're not turning down the 15 yards. So.
They weren't scared to leave their guys one-on-one in the back end.
Toriano does step out of bounds. How about his stat line? 5 carries, 106 yards on the day.
Oh, man. One of the fastest guys I've ever been around. So lucky he was on our end of things.
Let's give credit to Ryan Topper, that seal block that he had up there at wide receiver. Pretty good.
He's a big dude out there. Not many corners I think wanted to go against him.
Not that time for Al. Close. Just a bit short.
Tough sequence here for us.
Well, I got the same cliffhanger I did with Bart. Will the touchdown happen when you are in the chair? Will it be Chris Kievers?
Oh.
I'd hate not to get any UIndy points in your time of doing this. You
Rough.
got the hardest shift potentially.
Look, you think he gets in right there. It feels like he does, but
Stood up right at the goal line.
hard to see from our angle.
It's close, awfully close. It's a great play. And of course, there's an official right there on the goal line.
Yeah.
One of the
Really,
easy calls in football. It's one of the easier ones to see.
really impressive by them to be able to get driven all the way down and still be able to hang in tough.
And you get no points in your quarter. Well, again, it's going to turn out well.
Yeah.
For you. Lucas, thanks for the time, buddy.
Yeah, thanks
Thanks
you.
for reliving this game with us.
That was a good time. Appreciate
All right.
it.
Stay tuned. A guy that's been a part of UIndy football since 1994. Now the head coach of the Greyhounds, and Chris Kievers, joins us next for our fourth and final quarter of this homecoming rewind for the playoff victory against Fort Hays State. That comes your way right after this. Welcome back for the final time in our homecoming rewind. We get you to the fourth quarter of this 2018 playoff game against Fort Hays State, and the guy that was the defensive coordinator back then, now he is the head coach at the University of Indianapolis. It is Chris Kievers, buddy. It is good to see you. How are you?
Good, real good. We're practicing, so it's. I mean, we're doing football. We're getting the kids, and we're getting the kids engaged, and they're having fun, and we're having fun. So we don't get to play, but we're practicing. Our AD Scott Young's done a great job making sure we get to practice. So we're getting better.
All right, so literally as we are filming this, you are in week one of a 5-week plan, almost as you kind of flip what normally would be spring ball into the fall. What has that process been like for you?
It's what we didn't know we could do. We weren't sure what we could do because of all the COVID rules and protocols. So it's just we've just adjusted every time they've set and now that we've got where we're getting tested and we can play, and we can put full pads on. We're still not in the locker room. Our kids are carrying their pads back to their dorms. It's like third grade. But we are having. We're going to get full pads, and we're going to scrimmage and practice to get better. And the kids are excited, and we're excited. So it's been a tough 6 months. We've really tried to focus on the kids and just get them, make sure they're doing well. But we're kind of starting to see a light at the end of the tunnel.
All right, so with that, you and I were talking about this before the official part of the interview started. You're operating 2 different practices right now?
Yeah. We can only have so many bodies on the field at one time. So we split the team in half. We've got the varsity and we've got the freshmen, which about 40 freshmen, and then some of the younger guys. So we split the team in half. We go about, during the week we go hour and 15. On the weekends we go hour and a half. So it's on the Saturday we go when we practice. So we're going to try to invite some students to some practices and space them out so they can just give them something to do on campus. But trying to keep this thing going and making it as regular as possible. And it's been a very difficult situation, but things are going better.
There is no playbook as a coach how to handle this. How have the student athletes, how have they dealt with this?
I mean, they were so bored and so tired of being at home that they're excited to do anything. We ran them for 3 weeks and they were like, yeah. I mean, I'm out of my dorm. It's anything. Anything we do with them, they're excited to get everybody together and do things. And we have a lot of different rules and protocols, but Scott Young, our athletic director, and the president, and our athletic trainers have really put the time in to give us, what we need to get this thing done.
All right, and again, the plan is that you're playing football this spring from a intercollegiate game standpoint, correct?
Yes, we're going to play 4 games in April, and the 4th game will be the championship, one in our league, 1 versus 2, 3 versus 4, 5 versus 6. So there is going to be some football, and we are excited about it, and chance to win a ring and win a championship.
And let's also point out that there will not be a year of eligibility that is counted as this year. So,
right.
Obviously some young men will say, you know what, I'm ready to go start the rest of my life, and you understand that. But if a player wants to come back for an additional year, they will have that opportunity.
Yes, and a lot of them are coming back. We're going to have a good football team. We're excited about it.
Well, it's the University of Indianapolis. Why would you and I have been here for 27 years. Why would you ever want to leave at this point? So with that, let's get to the 4th quarter of the playoff game from 2018. And much like the start of the 2nd quarter, you've got the ball at the 1-yard line. And again, obviously at this time, you're worried more about the defense than, say, the overall outlook. But just kind of your thoughts on the twists and turns this game has taken so far.
We need points right here. We got to have a touchdown. I mean, it's their offense. They average 300 yards of passing. They're very, they're going to get big chunk plays and they're going to outscore you. So we need to get a touchdown to get 24-24, or we're going to be in trouble. And Bart knows it. I know it. We got to get a touchdown.
And basically, if for some reason this ball doesn't go in here, you're going for it on 4th down more than likely.
Yes. So,
numbers game, Parika.
Yeah. You spread them all out.
Yep.
Empties the box, and they had a good defense. I mean, they were really good defensively. Their stats, they were in top 20. I mean, they were a good defensive football team. We had a nice plan. Wilson did a nice job running the football, and we had a nice plan.
So 4th down is the call.
Got to get points. I mean,
you could not be any closer to the goal line.
Same thing happened the year before against Harding, and we were, we didn't get it in. So he got it in there. Oh, no, he did not get it in there.
Same play.
Okay. Yep.
Much better result.
Right. Yeah, he took it out of the ref's hands.
All right, so now you've just tied the game, or assuming the extra point will tie the game. So again, put your defensive hat on. You guys just had an outstanding stop for the first time in the half. What are you thinking defensively as this game's about to be tied 24-24?
We got to get some pressure on the quarterback. I mean, and we had the right guys to do it. That was the whole thing. We knew we could stop the run. We really like our defensive line. Those 4 guys let us do a lot of things in the back end that get away with a lot of things. So we thought we could stop the run. we were very concerned about the pass game. 87 and 9 are really good players. I mean, they're really good players, both receivers. So right now we're thinking find a way to get to, because they're going to come out throwing the ball. I mean, there's no question about that.
From a defensive standpoint, and you do this offensively, and everybody does it now, it is 3 wide, 4 wide, 5 wide.
Right.
Just how tough is it to cover 53 yards wide of a field when teams are doing that?
Yeah, I mean, they're getting a lot more athletes on the field, and you know, the whole thing that stops it is pressure on the quarterback. So, you know, that's what as you'll see here, we start getting some pressure on the quarterback, and it changes the game, because you know, we're going to play that cover 2. We're going to, you know, and they have some nice stuff against our cover 2. You've seen where they picked our linebacker, and they've got a nice plan. I mean, they're good coaches too. I mean, they're MIAA. I mean, that's supposed to be one of the best Division II leagues in the nation. So,
since you have the joy of going last and batting cleanup, so to speak, while we have this time before the kickoff return, let's talk about the 2 guys that were in here prior to you. Let's start with Lucas Rice, obviously a guy you coached up for the last several years.
I recruited Lucas, and Bart told me if I didn't get him that I'd be fired. So I made
sure. How many players did he say that about? By
not
the way?
many. But I was in his home, and I you know, I really spent a lot of time with Lucas. So, and he, you know, he's a Hancock County guy where I'm living now, and I Lucas Rice, great competitor, as you could tell, smart, great student. So he was a good choice. You know, I made sure I wanted to get him here.
He has to have been giving you the business the last couple of weeks about Mount Vernon and New Power. Right?
Oh yes, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I deserve it too. So,
all right, let's talk about Dan McHale, because again, he graduates, he leaves the program, and now he's coming back to you to play this year.
Yeah, he wants to get his master's in business. Was in nursing, didn't think it was a fit, and so he was an All-American center for us. So he's like, I want to come back. I was like, yeah, you can come back. For sure. Can't find one of those guys. So we're happy to have him, and he's again smart. He's like somebody's dad. I mean, we call him somebody, and he looks like somebody's dad. I mean, he's an old man, but he's doing a great job. He's gained a lot of weight and getting ready to come back, and so we're excited about him in the spring.
There's the talent aspect of that, but to have I say a kid with that level of maturity, what does that mean for your locker room?
Oh yeah, no, it's great. I mean, it's good for that whole room, that offensive line. We got a bunch of really smart, great people in the offensive line room. So, but he adds a lot. Here they're going to come up and they're going to run it. So they're not. That's not their strong point. But they don't want to get our offense back on the field because we just gave up a long drive. So they're going to they're still going to stay with the run. But this quarterback, they split time, the whole season, and then they just played this guy the whole time until Rice put him out.
Great open field tackle. Again, what a game for Williams. Huh?
Robert played his best game, and very important for him to play his best game. And he loves football, and so I'm so happy for him that he had such a big game in this moment for his senior year. Because they 3-by-1, they're putting him on the backside, and he did a great job. Now the pressure comes, and you start getting shots on the quarterback, it changes everything.
Was that a group, a front four, that we almost talk about like an offensive line wearing somebody down? Did that front four wear down teams?
There's no question they wore this team down because there was a couple young kids playing for them. And it was a true freshman and a redshirt freshman. And these guys, they played a lot of football, and we had a good group. I mean, that's the best D-line we've ever assembled. I mean, and they were playing well, and they did wear them out, especially at the end. You'll see it.
So 3rd and 9.
And there it is right there. Rice takes a shot and puts the quarterback down. He's done for the day. And that was a game changer for us. Because then now another kid's got to come in, and he's cold, and it's 12 minutes left, and he's got to try to win this game, which he hadn't even been playing in.
One of the things that, guys like me that talk about football from a press box, not from a sideline, will say, okay, when you're playing a mobile quarterback and, you're trying to keep him contained, rush lanes.
Right.
How does that apply against a kid like that?
Yeah, I mean, you'll see he ran that run play in the 3rd quarter. He ran it down. If you don't, you've got to have disciplined rush lanes. And then, there's a fine line there. You also don't want robots. You got to have some kids that get some pressure on the quarterback and take some chances. So, we'll go round and round with that. We'll yell at them, but we also want them to take some chances and get a sack and help us win.
What's the mindset on the sideline right now? Again, they go from scoring basically 24 of 27 points to now you've scored and now you've gotten another stop. What
the momentum's? We're telling we're getting the kids jacked up. This is our game. We're gonna finish this thing off and just pumping the kids up. Getting them excited and just on the sideline right now. Everybody's so excited and jacked up because we're playing pretty well against a really good football team. We got away from running some gap scheme plays and pulled a guard and switching some things up, because you looked at the first half, they're sitting in cover 2 the whole first half. So we run the ball down their throat. And now you look at them, they're rolling safety down, they're playing cover 1, they're playing cover 3. They got more people in the box. When you do that, you got to be a little more creative in the run game.
Again, putting your old defensive hat on, what was it like to see a guy like McKellar help lead a 6, 7, 8 minute drives? You had a lot of those back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Still do, obviously.
Yeah, we sit and watch. It's wonderful. Anytime as a defensive coach, you're watching the offense play, that's a great thing. And
what a throw.
This guy can play.
And Davion Bell doesn't get caught very often.
No, he can flat out play.
So we saw 2 kind of deep shots that were missed earlier in the game, but they were missed long. It's where you want to miss them. You just got to keep taking those.
When these strips, they take the corner and they walk it out to the number 3, and then they put a safety on Bell, and we knew that. Look at the matchup. I mean, that kid's he's more of a thicker kid, not going to be able to cover him. So we saw how they were playing trips and made that adjustment.
That was for 76 yards, by the way, folks, on that catch from Davion Bell. Had 5 catches for the day.
He's been electric.
2 of those for touchdowns, and of all the plays I've seen him have at UIndy, that may be the most straight line play.
Right.
Because most of them are zigs and zags
right.
and turns like Harrison County roads, basically. That was more straight down the field. So almost in the blink of an eye, you go from 24-17 down to start the quarter to now you're up 31-24.
Right. Well, we're 26-2 at home the last 5 years for a reason. I mean, we put the black on and we're going to win. I mean, that's the bottom line. That's how we think. That's what we talk before every game. We look down and look at your chest. We got black on. It's time to win. We're going to win. So it's this group right here expected to win. But yeah, that's a bad matchup for them. But he's been electric.
What's obviously unique about this is that, again, this is just 2 years ago, so we're talking about a lot of guys that are still key parts of your program.
Oh man, I mean, I'm watching. I'm like, we got a bunch of guys playing. So I'm excited. I know that. I watched this game at lunchtime today just to make sure I remember.
Well, it still turned out as a win for the Hounds, so don't worry about that.
No question. And our kicker's back. I mean, he's this year he was a young man who walked on, and all of a sudden he wasn't playing, but then our kid got hurt, and then he came in and took kickoff and punt, and for the half of the year did a great job. He's been our guy ever since. 87's a great player, 230-pound man returning kickoffs.
That's just a case where you want to get your best player the ball at all occasions. And so that's exactly what Fort Hays did in this game.
Right. Now here comes the other quarterback, and now things have changed because this guy is not he just wasn't quite ready.
There's one thing about difference in having to come in cold, as you talked about, but from a skill set standpoint, what were the difference between the two of them?
They both were great throwers. I mean, that throw was not bad. I mean, but the other kid was just more mobile.
Yeah.
He was just more of an athlete, and then as you watch it, they start playing that kid more because he was just so much more athletic. But this kid could throw it. That's why they played him.
So this is Jacob Mazzara, who comes in as the backup quarterback. He would throw for 79 yards during the course of the fourth quarter. He'd complete 11 of his 15 passes, but a couple of them were completed to the other team.
Yeah, for points. this number 9 was a really good player. You know, we're playing off 2, and you know, they're getting him the ball. They're doing a good job.
We talked a lot about Williams on one corner. Let's talk about DeWitt, the other cornerback there that makes the tackle.
Yeah, Mitch is you know, he's still playing for us. Yeah, he's a young man that came in and walked on from Fairfield, Indiana. No one can find it, just south of Goshen. And he's really, I mean, he started for 3 years for us, first team all conference, and just you know, great student, over a 3.5. I mean, good family, just a wonderful person to be around. It's a big play. We had a key on these guys when they ran them across the formation like that. That's why you watch the linebackers; they both just take off when they run him across the formation.
Cole Sigmund on the tackle, correct?
Yep. You see, both linebackers just took off with him because this was one of their big plays, and that's a great play by Cole. I miss Cole. Great. You know, we were together for 5 years, and man, I just you spend a lot of time with a young man. All of a sudden he leaves. You're like, there you go. So Cole was great. Had a great career. Had to stay for 2 years and wait.
Bell again.
Yep.
Like we said earlier, conventional punt return rules do not apply to him. He pretty much has free reign back there.
He can do whatever he wants, and we didn't play him until the 4th game of the year as a freshman, and Bart and I, and we're all arguing in there, and Bart's like, all right, it's your job then, Jack. And he muffs the first punt. Falls on it, but the next punt he went for 6. Yeah. 80 yards against Southwest Baptist.
And this is, again, you've had a lot of games that have not been close in the 4th quarter. But when you have had them, this has typically been when that 4-minute drill tends to come into play for your football team.
Yes, well, we can run it. So, I mean, it's to our advantage to move that, get the clock going. I mean, this kid he's dynamite. McKellar's dynamite. And, Lawrence North High School, he came in his first game of his career and he rushes for 200 yards against Grand Valley. Averages like 10 yards a carry or 20 yards, something ridiculous.
Obviously, the center is coming back, as we've alluded to earlier. Tell me about the rest of this offensive line group you had on the field.
Well, there's 3 of them. The 2 tackles are coming back too, Hadley and Singh. So, there's 3 of the 5 still playing on this picture.
All right, so what exactly did you just line up here on that play?
Well, if you remember, when we won our first playoff game in 12, we got in the same formation, and they didn't call timeout. We threw it over there and ran for about 30 yards. And it just kept, and we started, and we ran. So we thought, hey, let's put it back in again, 8 years later, and see if it, and what it is, it cost them a timeout.
Right.
So then they started rushing at the end, and we had gave us a better chance. But so it was, what Bart used to say, high diddle diddle. But so it was burn a timeout. But they had, like I said, they're a good football team. Parika and Rice they've been together. They're buds. They're quarterback and a nose guard. How'd they ever get together?
Jake has a nose guard's mentality for a quarterback.
No question.
So.
Oh, there's no question.
And again, when you come from a football family like he does.
Right. Everybody's tough. Daughter's tough. Toriano Clinton is a really good football player too. He averaged over 8 yards a carry last year. He's like a 3-4 student.
How do you go about balancing he and Al in that offense?
Hard. Very hard. I mean, you because they're both very talented. They're both different types of backs, so you run different plays with each one of them. But boy, you'd like to have them in there a lot together, but it just doesn't work that way. So try to rest one and play the other one. I mean, we did a really good job in this game, but we got 5 carries.
Correct.
Yeah, so I guess we didn't. Probably like it. Where you could get him get some more carries. I mean, but like I said, Al controls the clock and physical, and so they're both great players. Starting to beat him up a little bit. Tarnjeet Singh is the starting left tackle here, and he's from Whiteland, and he'll go to PT school. I think he's going to put it off a semester to come back and play in 2021, and then start in January. He's like a 3.9 student. Joe Sarabia, our tight end, he's coming back in 2021. He walked on from Idaho. How about that?
All right, so now I got to ask, how does someone find this place from Idaho?
His family knew they were going to move back to Indiana.
Okay.
So that's why they just wanted him to go to school and try to find a place he could play football. And what a surprise. He's been first team all conference and a great student and a wonderful young man. And it's been, he's been just a great player for us.
All right, so obviously a key moment in this game just happened and not good for the home team.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's it's never good when you turn it over. And Al doesn't turn it over very often. I mean, you don't think, hey, that's not going to happen. But it did, and we always talk about it's time to respond. I mean, sudden change, time to respond, keep playing, let's go. And these guys have played so much football. I mean, Luker's a fifth-year guy. Williams is a fifth-year guy. Sigmund was a 4-year guy. But everybody's played for so long.
Good open field work there.
Yeah.
Even in this day and age of football, 14 catches is a lot for one game.
Oh, boy. I mean,
But again, you're limited to about 7.5 yards a catch. And given how good of a player he is,
right.
That's pretty good.
Just wanted to tackle him. That's. But we're able to play good coverage because those 4 guys are beating him up front. If we didn't have those 4 guys, we'd have to do something else. I mean, those guys are causing problems for the Q. But this little running back reminds me of the Lindenwood kid. They're very similar, just explosive. He gets the ball and everybody holds their breath. Doesn't run it real well between the tackles, but boy, you get outside the box and he's scary.
So one of the things I noticed in talking with Lucas in the last quarter is that with this group, you very rarely had to sub in a play. You were able to play your defense with 11 guys and move them around.
Yes, and that's been kind of our philosophy. I mean, we're
Right.
We're going to play good coverage, and they're working over the Will backer over here, Joe Lambright. But cover 2, what we do is really good coverage. Hard to, nothing's open. So, they have some things that are pretty good against it, but when you add pressure, it really slows them down. But yeah, I can't say enough about those 4 guys. I mean, those guys are game-changing guys when they pressure the quarterback.
So that's good enough for a first down.
And it's a 7-point game, and it's 6 minutes left to go in the game, and it's funny on the sidelines. I just never thought we were going to lose this football game. I don't know why. There's sometimes you're like, ooh, we just thought we were going to win this game. Bart did a good job. I mean, we all thought we were going to win. You think you're going to win. Yeah, that was not their strength, running the football.
And I can't tell if that quarterback's trying to do a misdirection or he's literally turning over the wrong shoulder on those plays. A couple of odd handoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the snap's off and the timing's off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, because he didn't practice all week. The other guy practiced. Three by one, check. Bet they go over to Robert. Nope, yep, there it is, Robert. Pushed off.
Offensive pass interference.
Yeah, and they don't call that very often.
No.
Nice to be at home. Because that's not a call you get very often. But Robert sold it too.
So obviously what could have been the game-tying touchdown turns into a penalty.
Right. That's a better situation for us.
That's a game changer.
Heading toward the red zone, and now it's 3rd and 22. I'll take it. that's such a hard call.
Yeah.
Either side. I mean, I don't know how they do it. I mean, it's,
Even with a missed tackle, that's still good quality defense, 2 or 3 yard pickup.
right. I mean, just keeping the ball inside and in front.
How does the mindset change when you get to kind of this part of the game now? I mean, as you just went past the 5-minute mark.
You know, we kind of keep doing what we're defensively. You know, we don't change much. I mean, we're going to change up some of the stunts. The D-line's going to run, but we're going to run similar coverage. Now, 3rd and 22, we backed everybody off, as you could tell. I mean, we were going to let them get some yards, but we weren't going to let them get the. Instead of just sitting there and letting them run by us, we backed everybody up. So took the field goal here.
Yep.
Probably, you know, it's good decision. You know, it's going to be, you know, they thought they might get the ball back, which they do.
So good pick up here for Fort Hays. Again, they go from the 39 to inside the 25. This puts them in more manageable field goal range.
Kicker was good, boy. Now, you know is he the field goal kicker too? Now, he's a St. Joe guy.
Oh, really?
Kickoff guy and punter. Is he the field goal guy too? But he was at St. Joe when they closed down. We played against him. How about that?
So 31-27. Again, we're in the defensive hat at the time. Are you thinking, all right, we're gonna have to get at least one more stop here? Or are you thinking, hey, offense is gonna control this?
No, I'm thinking we're gonna need one more stop.
Okay.
I mean, we're getting ready to play again. We're on the sidelines and we're drawing things up, fixing the problems we had, and like, okay, here's what, you know, this is what they've been doing to get, you know, they're going to go 3 by 1 and attack Robert. We know that. We got to find ways to get some pressure on them. Not that Robert's a really good player, but that's just what, you know, the way we played our safety across the field to the trips. He was a one-on-one guy.
Yeah.
So, yep, there's St. Joe guy right there. Puma, Puma, Puma. Our defensive line coach was the defensive coordinator at Fort Hays State. He was actually at this game. They brought him up in the press box and he interviewed the Fort Hays people interviewed him at halftime. Jay Hood. So we're hoping we get some type of return here.
I would say that counts as some type of return.
That helps a lot.
Yep.
Because that means that they're probably going to have a long field if they do have to hit
Correct.
get a drive.
And obviously field goal does them no good here. So you're thinking a first down, maybe 2, win the game for you. You'd already forced them to burn a timeout. There's Toriano's speed again.
Yeah, he's a great player and just a great person, fun to be around. He helps us in recruiting every weekend. He shows up, and he's that guy.
So expect a heavy dose of Alma Keller here.
Right, for sure. And, you know, we trusted him. You know, he fumbled the ball, but we put him right back in. He's our guy.
As you referred to, that happens about as often as a solar eclipse.
Right. Receivers do a great job of blocking. I mean, you look at those guys, Matteo and Topper, and I mean, they're doing a great job. Even Bell blocks really well. You don't get these long runs without, you know, guys blocking.
Well, I was going to say, before you brought up Davion Bell, I was going to bring up the size of those 2 receivers that you're talking about blocking. Matteo and Topper are big kids.
Matteo can play linebacker. I mean, he's a big, explosive human being. Wouldn't want to, but.
So you can note what's on the play clock, trying to run as much time off the clock as possible.
Right. Slow it down. You know, burning that time out now is looks like it's a pretty good plan.
pretty good back that didn't get much into this game wearing number 3 right
Yeah.
there for you.
Yep. I mean, that's the hard part when there's so many, good football players, and that's what we want competition. That helps build our football team.
Maybe Tyree Lee for those that are uninitiated there. And again, great job by the offensive line. Again, everybody in the stadium knows what play you're running. You still get 4 yards out of it.
Physical, wearing them down. I mean, you can see those guys are getting up slow. I mean, they call timeout finally.
The work, obviously, the work you put in is the work that every team puts in. So I acknowledge that. But the work you put in the weight room to win those battles, what is that like at this program?
Well, Steve Barrick has got to be one of the best in Division II, and he gets those kids. We all do get them to commit in that weight room. It's all year round. We have our 2 deeps here all summer long lifting. I mean, it's a commitment, but the kids really enjoy being in that weight room. I've never had somebody come to me and go, "Oh, I don't like lifting." Steve, everybody loves Steve. He's a teacher. He gets after him, but they love him to death, and his staff, so they do a great job. I mean, they're working 7 days a week right now with trying to get everybody in the weight room. I mean, they're fantastic. So, and they help a lot. I mean, there's no doubt they help us win, because we win a lot of fourth quarter games, and it's because we're in great shape, and everybody's healthy from our football team. We didn't have one kid out going into the playoff game this game. How about that? And that's Steve Barrett. That's a bad play.
It's a great defensive play by them, because now that really takes you almost out of field goal range with that loss there.
Oh, and we're putting the punt team in. You know that. And that was a good idea, because the next play after that,
Spoiler alert.
Everybody kind of moaned and groaned about this punt. You could hear them in the silence. And all of a sudden, everybody forgot about that punt.
So let's note that Fort Hays just took their 3rd and final timeout to stop the clock there with 2:09 left to go. And again, if that's a no-gain play, let's say, okay, maybe it's a 42-yard field goal. Yeah, it's probably either you're running the ball to go for it on 4th down to end the game, or just going for it, period. Maybe you're kicking a field goal and think, all right, we got a 7-point lead, but that puts you in a tough spot when you lose 7 or 8 yards on a play like that.
Yeah, I mean, now decision-making time, and Bart sent the punt team out, and I thought it was, I liked the decision, but there were some moans and groans. But it's, what do you do here? I mean, you don't want to, if you throw, the only way you're going to get a first down is you're going to throw it. If you throw it, something bad could happen. Sometimes it's good to be conservative. Because, as the game goes on, it was a great decision. I still coach the punt team. A lot of pride in this punt team. Did you hear Rice say he was a quarterback of the punt team? I sold that on him because he was in the shield, because those guys are running into his face.
It's not very often you're happy with a 17-yard punt. But in that scenario, that's a great 17-yard punt.
Oh, we got 2 minutes and we win the game. I mean, that was.
It doesn't require a math major to explain.
No.
They would have had to have gone 89 yards without a timeout, with, again, a kid that played a lot, but was the backup on this day.
Yep, backup quarterback. And now if you watch Robert right here.
That's number 9 on the bottom of your screen, everybody.
He is not supposed to do what he does. But he knows the play, and he knows that's the way to get some yards, so he's two-bend in, and he just takes it. Now, Robert likes to have some fun, and see Rice over there jumping. That whole thing collapsed. This was a big penalty.
If you're going to take a 15-yard penalty, an interception to make it 2-score game in a playoff game,
right?
I understand. That's a penalty to take.
Great play by him. Finished the game off. Just fun to see a guy end his career like that. I mean, and we had a good crowd. I mean, we get great support. it's not easy in a playoff game. The weather's cold, and they don't, you don't get to put up you don't get to do the things you usually do during the game. But we had a bunch of people there.
So this is the first playoff win in 6 years for the program.
Yes.
Obviously, at the time, it was the 5th trip in 7 years. After this year, it was 6 trips in 8 years at the Division II playoff level. Specifically, what did this win mean for UIndy football?
Well, you beat the MIAA champ by 10 points. That says a lot. And what that does is this year, 19, when us and Lindenwood had 2 good football teams,
right.
They're like, we're taking both these teams. People weren't happy about it. But you beat the MIAA champ by 10. That's you're going to get into the playoffs. So it gave us some respect.
To point out to folks, this was the 8th year of the GLBC sponsoring football. So that's that 8-year window we're kind of talking about as well for UIndy. And this was the first time the Great Lakes Valley Conference had 2 teams that made the Division II postseason. At this time, did you know that Bart was retiring at the end of the year?
I did not. He told me after the playoff game.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think we were out. No, he told me we worked for a week out recruiting. He brought me in the office on Friday. Said, "Hey, I'm going to tell everybody on Sunday I'm retiring." I was like, so, we were together a long time, and he taught me so much, and I was very fortunate to be around somebody that good for a long period of time because taught me a lot how to do things, and I told him, I said, "You're getting out too early." He says, "It's time for me to go."
All right, now, the next Saturday wasn't exactly a great day for the Greyhounds.
No.
With the season coming to an end. But there was still a great positive to be had by you on that Saturday, and a very unique situation. So with this game in hand, we're going to show the final minute 40 or so, even though the Hounds, we've hit the final score, folks, at 38-27. This is the way this one is going to end. So you played in Arkansas the next week in the round of 16 for the Division II playoffs, yet you made it to Lucas Oil Stadium for a 5A state championship game. Tell us about that.
We got off, we were on the plane, and I was talking to our president, and he said, "Hey, I parked right here, I parked right there at the airport." So we flew in, and as soon as we both got off, and we went to his car, and he took me right to Lucas Oil to watch the game, to watch my son in his sophomore year when they won the state championship. I got to see the second half. I walked up to the gate, and I said, "Hey, I want to buy a ticket." And they're like, "We're closed." I said, "Listen, I just flew in from Arkansas to see this game." She goes, "Just go ahead in."
Yeah.
So.
And of course, you were listening to my radio call from the airport on the way in, correct?
Yes.
Of course you were.
Yes. Oh, yeah. No, Rob was great. He's such a special man. That was a great opportunity for me. I almost started crying just being able to get there.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. But.
So you're saying your day improved as it went along?
Oh boy!
On that Thanksgiving weekend.
We got there and it was real rainy and muddy and we just it was that's not an excuse, but we didn't play very well and we weren't. It's almost like we put so much into this game we just didn't go on. That's why I'm trying to get them. We need to keep going and keep making playoff runs.
Another great play.
Yeah, that's Rice again.
Yeah.
Rice was killing this freshman lineman. He was talking. He kept telling me what the kid was telling him, and he said, "I'm just going to kill this." He was really excited about the game during the game. So we're obviously close. Those 4 guys right there, Hart, Schmatz, and Rice and Weathers are really, really good players.
Great job of keeping the runner pinned in so he can't get out of bounds and stop the clock.
We had a really nice linebacker core. I really enjoyed being around those guys. Now we got them backed up, 3rd and 10.
The most important thing is what you see on your screen. The clock is moving.
Yeah. Kid was a good player.
Mm-hmm.
This is at 9 and 87. They both had big games. Bryce Edwards coming in the game. Bryce is back. He sat out 19 with his arm. He had a long story, but his arm wasn't working. So now it is. There's some nerves transferred in, and he made it happen. Well, like I always said, it's fun to win. I mean, we kind of knew right here we're winning this game. So I just love when the crowd gets on the field and my family's on the field. It's got a good culture here. We've created a good culture. Sue did a nice job of getting this going, and
It is a tad bit different than when you and I set foot on campus in 1994.
oh boy, with that parking lot out in the middle of the campus. Now it's Smith Mall. Look at this. I love this.
Take a knee, be done. And a great way to wrap up this game. And again, what is a homecoming unlike any other. And fittingly, the first football wins that you and I were around here for at UIndy was on homecoming. Was against Michigan Tech back in 1994.
Yeah, I remember hugging Craig Blanchard.
And so there will not be a homecoming victory this year. The victory is all of us getting together to watch stuff like this. We cannot thank the folks right here at UIndy TV enough for being nice enough to give us their studio. So Steve, Cody, everybody behind the scenes that you don't see, I can't thank them enough. Thanks to Ryan Thorpe and everybody in the Sports Information Office that put this together. Thanks to Coach Kievers, Coach Bart, Dan McHale, Lucas Rice for donating their time to be able to do this. And we're doing this over other sports as well. I think soccer and volleyball are kind of doing similar things as far as rewatching some classic game footage. We are so looking forward to football in the spring, whatever that may entail, but having an honest-to-God homecoming in 2021 and hopefully having a playoff game like that and a couple of more next fall as well. Final thoughts on this, Coach?
Well, like I said, this was a great game, and I really enjoyed doing this with you, and I really appreciate your time and Ryan Thorpe and everybody's putting this together. But we're excited for the spring, and that's step one. We're going to play some games, and hopefully we'll have some crowds and get this thing going. But I just think we're all going the right direction. So I'm excited about it, and we'll get this thing fixed.
Now that I'm off camera, this is going back on. So stay safe, mask up, go Hounds. We hope you enjoyed this version of homecoming. We'll see you back at Key Stadium next year for it.